The ancients spoke a quiet truth, a truth that echoes not in temples of stone, but in the silent chambers of the heart. They said that the deepest pain is not a curse to be lifted, nor a flaw to be erased. It is a messenger, a guide, a sacred invitation to come home to yourself. You have felt its presence, haven't you? A silent weight you carry through crowded rooms and empty mornings, a subtle ache behind your laughter, a shadow that flickers at the edge of your brightest moments. For years, perhaps a lifetime, you have learned to walk around it, to build your life in the space it does not occupy. You have become an expert in the art of avoidance, a master of distraction, but still, it remains. It is the unseen guest, sitting patiently in the deepest room of your soul, waiting not for you to vanquish it, but simply to turn and acknowledge its presence. It has a story to tell, a story that holds the key to your own liberation. This journey, the one we are embarking on now, is a pilgrimage to that room. We will not go with weapons or with strategies for removal. We will go with a single intention: to listen to the part of you that has been voiceless for so long. This is not a journey of fixing, for you were never broken. It is a journey of remembering, of integrating, of becoming whole. We are going to learn the language of the wound itself, a language spoken not in words, but in sensation, in echoes, in the very fabric of your being. We are going to turn around with courage and with grace and speak to the wound, for it is ready, finally, to listen to you, just as it is ready for you to listen to it. Take a slow breath. The doorway is opening. Let us begin here, in the quiet space beyond your thoughts. Come away from the noise of the day, from the list of things to do, from the memory of what was and the worry for what might be. Arrive, just for this moment, in the center of your own being, and let us notice what is already here. Before we give it a name, before we tell its story, let us simply feel the subtle, pervasive presence of a weight. It is not a physical object. You cannot point to it, and yet you know it intimately. It is the invisible companion to your every step, the silent partner in your every breath. It is a gravity that belongs only to you, pulling you slightly inward, making the world seem a little more dense, a little more difficult to move through. This is the silent weight you carry. It was not a thing that arrived with a crash. It settled upon you so gently, so long ago perhaps, that you mistook it for your own skin. It may have draped itself over you like a blanket in a time of coldness, a shield when the world felt sharp and hostile. In the beginning, it might have even felt like protection, a necessary armor for a sensitive soul. And so you accepted it. You learned to move with it, to breathe under it, to build your life around its unseen dimensions. You adjusted your posture, both physically and spiritually, to accommodate its mass. You learned to walk in a way that would not disturb it, to speak in a tone that would not cause it to shift. It became the unspoken rule, the first law of your inner universe. But a shield, when worn for too long, becomes a cage. A blanket, when never removed, becomes a shroud. Think of it as a great cloak, woven from the threads of unwept tears, unspoken words, and unfelt emotions. A cloak made not of wool, but of lead. In the morning you rise, and you put it on without thinking. It is part of your routine, like breathing. And as you move through your day, you wonder why you feel so tired. You see others leap, and you take a careful step. You hear others sing, and your own voice feels trapped in your throat. You feel a pull towards connection, a desire for intimacy, but the sheer effort of lifting the cloak to let another person in feels monumental. And so you remain, seemingly safe, but profoundly alone within its folds. This weight is silent. It does not argue or protest. It simply is. It is this silence that makes it so powerful. You cannot debate with it. You cannot reason it away. When you try to explain it to others, the words evaporate. I'm just tired, you might say. I'm just feeling a bit down. But these are pale translations of a much deeper reality. How do you describe a color that no one else can see? How do you explain a constant pressure that has no source? This inability to articulate it creates a subtle isolation, a feeling that you are living in a slightly different reality from everyone else, a reality that is heavier, slower, and more muted. It muffles joy. A moment of pure happiness might come, a brilliant sunrise, a genuine laugh with a friend, and the weight is there, not to destroy the moment, but to dampen it, to remind you that the lightness cannot last. It is a constant anchor to a more somber shore. Consider how this silent weight has shaped your life, not through grand, dramatic events, but through 1,000 tiny, daily decisions. It is the architect of your comfort zone. It has dictated which invitations you accept and which you decline. It has whispered to you to take the safer path, the quieter road, the smaller life, not because you are incapable, but because you are already carrying so much. Every choice is a calculation of energy, and your reserves are perpetually low, perpetually diverted to the simple, unconscious task of carrying this weight. It is the reason you hesitate. It is the reason you procrastinate on your own dreams. The dream requires you to climb, and you are already carrying a mountain. It influences your perception, tinting the lens through which you view the world. It can make a neutral comment sound like a criticism. It can make a genuine offer of help feel like an act of pity. It filters your reality through a fine mesh of past hurts and future fears, ensuring that what reaches you is already colored by its own heavy nature. And feel it in your body. Where does it live in you? For this weight, though energetic in nature, must anchor itself in the physical. Is it the perpetual tightness in your shoulders and neck, as if you are bracing for an impact that never comes? Is it the shallow breath that never quite reaches the bottom of your lungs? A subconscious fear of taking up too much space, of feeling too much? Is it the hollow ache in your chest, the quiet hum of anxiety in your stomach? Your body is the sacred scroll that records the history of your soul. It does not lie. These physical sensations are the footprints of the silent weight. They are the points where the invisible becomes tangible. They are the first clues in our sacred investigation. For a long time, you may have thought this was simply you. This is my personality. I am just a low-energy person. I am just an anxious person. You identified with the weight. You believed you were the cloak. But now, right now, a separation is possible. For the first time, perhaps, you are not just carrying the weight, you are observing yourself carrying the weight. This is a monumental shift. You are moving from being the unconscious captive to being the conscious witness, and in that shift, everything changes. The witness is not weighed down, the witness is free. The witness is the vast, open sky of your awareness, and the weight is merely a cloud passing through it, however slowly. Do not try to throw it off. Not yet. Do not struggle against it. That is a battle you have fought many times, and it only ever makes you more tired, tightening the cloak around you. For today, for this moment, the only task is to acknowledge, to feel the sheer mass of it, and to honor the incredible, staggering strength it has taken for you to carry it for this long. Feel that. Feel the resilience in your own spirit, the endurance in your own heart. You are a titan. You have been walking with this unseen burden, navigating the world, loving, working, dreaming, all while under its influence. Let a wave of compassion wash over you for the person who has had to be so strong. Just this awareness, this gentle, non-judgmental acknowledgement begins to change the nature of the weight itself. It loosens its grip ever so slightly. It is the beginning of a conversation. By noticing it, you are saying, I see you, I feel you. I am no longer pretending you are not here. You are calling it out of the shadows and into the light of your consciousness. And in this light, we can begin to see what it is truly made of. We can begin to trace the individual threads that make up its fabric. These threads are the echoes of the past, the beliefs forged in fire, the stories you tell yourself. They are the next stop on our journey. We have acknowledged the weight. Now we will learn its song. We have felt the silent weight, that invisible cloak of lead you have carried with such unknowing strength. Now we must attune our senses to a finer frequency. We must begin to listen. For the weight is not truly silent. It emits a sound, a constant low-frequency hum that vibrates just beneath the threshold of your everyday hearing. And from this hum, echoes are born. These are the echoes you run from. They are the recurring thoughts, the familiar spirals of anxiety, the patterns of behavior that you mistake for your personality. They are not the original wound, but the sound of that wound as it reverberates through the canyon of your life. You have spent so much energy trying to outrun them, to build walls against them, to drown them out with noise. But you cannot run from an echo, because the source of the sound is inside of you. Imagine your mind is a vast, quiet valley. In its natural state, it is serene. The air is still. The only sounds are the gentle rustle of leaves and the flow of a clear stream. But long ago, perhaps in your childhood, perhaps later, an event occurred. A moment of pain, of fear, of shame. In that moment, a single, powerful cry was sent out into the valley. A cry of, "I am not safe," or "I am not wanted," or "I am not enough." It was a genuine, spontaneous expression of a being in pain. The event passed. The moment ended. But the valley, in its perfect, impersonal fidelity, caught the sound. And ever since, it has been sending it back to you. That is the echo. The echo is not the danger itself. The echo is just a memory made of sound. It comes to you at the most inconvenient times. You are on the verge of a new success. And suddenly, from across the valley, you hear the faint whisper, "Not enough." You are opening your heart to another person, and a cold wind carries the sound, "Not safe." You are sitting in a moment of peace, and the ghost of an old shame reverberates from the distant cliffs. What has been your response? You have shouted back at the echo, "Go away." You scream into the valley, "I don't want you here. That isn't true." And the valley, in its perfect, impartial way, simply sends your new shout back to you. So now, you don't just hear the original echo of "not enough." You also hear the new, frantic echo of "go away, go away." You have, with the best of intentions, created a cacophony. You are at war with your own reflections. This is the inner conflict, the feeling of being trapped in your own mind. It is the exhaustion of fighting an enemy that is made only of your own resisted sound. Let us identify these echoes as they appear in your life, so you may recognize them not as intrinsic truths, but as mere reverberations. There is the echo of thought. This is the voice of the inner critic, the relentless narrator of your perceived flaws. It is the one that replays your mistakes on a loop, that magnifies your insecurities, that projects failure onto the canvas of your future. You think this voice is you, that it is the voice of reason or realism. It is not. It is an echo. It is the sound of a past judgment from a parent, a teacher, a peer, or even yourself, now playing back on repeat. It has no new information. It has no true wisdom. It is a recording. There is the echo of emotion. This is the sudden wave of sadness that washes over you on a perfectly fine afternoon. The flash of anger that is 10 times too large for the person who cut you off in traffic. It is that familiar, gut-wrenching anxiety that arrives before a meeting, a date, or even just before you fall asleep. These feelings often feel baseless, untriggered. That is because their trigger is not in the present moment. Their trigger was the original cry long ago. The present situation simply has the right acoustics for the echo to be heard clearly. You are not reacting to now. You are re-experiencing the emotional tone of then. And most powerfully, there is the echo of behavior. These are the intricate and often unconscious ways you arrange your life to avoid hearing the sound. This is self-sabotage. You finally get the opportunity you have been dreaming of, and you find a way to spoil it. Because success is an open, quiet space, and in that quiet, you are afraid you will finally hear the echo of "not enough." This is the pattern of pushing away intimacy. You meet someone kind and available, and just as they get close, you create distance, you find fault, you run. You are not running from them. You are running from the vulnerability of a quiet heart, the perfect chamber for the echo of "not safe" to be heard. It is the numbing, the endless scrolling, the extra glass of wine, the workaholism, the constant busyness. We are not lazy or undisciplined. We are ingenious escape artists, creating a wall of sound and distraction so we do not have to sit in the silent valley and hear what haunts us. The tragedy and the futility of it all is this. The act of running is what convinces you the echo is a monster. Your desperate flight gives it form and substance. You are panting, heart-pounding, looking over your shoulder, and so you believe you must be chased by something terrifying. But what if you are only being chased by a sound? What if the energy is not in the echo itself, but in your resistance to it? You have spent years, decades, pouring your life force into the act of not listening. Imagine what you could build with that energy. Imagine the love you could give, the art you could create, the peace you could embody if you simply stopped running. So the invitation now is not to run faster, not to build higher walls, not to shout louder. The invitation is to do the one thing you have never done, to stop, to stand still in the center of your valley, to let your hands fall to your sides, to quiet your own frantic shouting, and to listen, to let the echoes come. Let them wash over you, hear the "not enough," and instead of shouting back, simply notice it. You can say inwardly, there is that sound again, the old recording. Notice it without judgment, without fear, without scrambling to fix it or deny it. You simply stand your ground, not in defiance, but in stillness. You become the mountain in the middle of the valley. The echoes can swirl around a mountain, but they cannot move it. When you stop shouting, the valley begins to quiet. When you stop running from the echo, you rob it of its power. It is just a sound, and you are no longer afraid of sound. You are beginning to understand that you are not the echo, nor the one who shouts, but the vast, silent, listening space of the valley itself. This stillness, this radical act of non-resistance, is the beginning of true peace. It is the point from which all healing flows. It requires a new kind of strength, not the strength to fight, but the strength to be still. It requires courage, the courage to finally turn around. The valley of your mind has fallen quiet. You have stopped shouting at the echoes, and in the stillness, a profound choice emerges. For years, you have believed that courage meant moving forward, pushing onward, building a future that was as far as possible from the site of the original pain. You thought strength was measured in the distance you could travel away from your ghosts. But the journey of the soul has a different geography. Here, the bravest act, the one that requires the most profound strength, is not to take another step forward. It is to stop. It is to plant your feet firmly into the earth. And it is to find the courage, the quiet, earth-shattering courage, to turn around. This is the turning point, not a single event, but a deliberate, conscious pivot of your entire being. It is the moment you decide to stop running from the sound in the valley and begin walking towards it. Fear will arise. Let it. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to act in its presence. Your fear is a loyal guardian. It has kept you safe. It has patrolled the borders of your pain for a lifetime. We must honor its service. But we must also gently inform it that its service is no longer needed in the same way. For you are not turning around to re-enter a battle. You are turning around to sign a peace treaty. Let us look at this fear together, without judgment. What is it that you believe will happen if you truly turn and face what you have been running from? There is the fear of being overwhelmed, of drowning. You believe the pain is a bottomless ocean, and to turn towards it is to willingly walk into the surf. You fear that if you let yourself truly feel it, it will consume you whole, and you will be lost forever. But listen to this truth. You have already felt it. You felt it the moment it happened, and you survived. What you carry now is not the ocean itself, but the memory of the ocean, the echo of the waves. You survived the reality. You can certainly survive the memory. The only reason it feels infinite is because you have never allowed it to pass through you. You have held it back with a dam of resistance, and now the pressure feels immense. Turning around is the act of opening the gate, not to drown, but to finally let the river flow. Then there is the fear of what you might find. You fear that if you look into the heart of your wound, you will find something monstrous, something ugly and unforgivable about yourself. You fear that the pain was your fault, that you are intrinsically flawed, broken, or bad. You have run from this possibility, this verdict, for so long. But the source of the echo is not a monster. What you will find, waiting patiently in the past, is not a demon to be slain. It is a child. It is a younger you, frozen in a moment of terror or confusion or abandonment. This part of you has been waiting, not for your judgment, but for your compassion. It has been waiting for the adult you, the wise you, the you that is listening to this now, to come back and say, I am here. You are not alone anymore. I will keep you safe. You are not turning around to confront a monster. You are turning around to rescue your own innocent self. Imagine you are an explorer. Long ago, you heard the roar of a terrifying beast in the jungle, and you fled. For years, you have been hacking your way through dense undergrowth, always moving away from the sound. Your life has been about this flight. You have become an expert in survival, in navigation, in finding edible plants in the dark forest of avoidance. Your skills are immense, but you are tired, your muscles ash, and you have come to a clearing only to realize that the jungle stretches on, endless, in every direction. The path forward is just more of the same. And then, a quiet realization dawns. The beast was never chasing you to devour you. The beast was your own life force, your untamed power, your deepest truth, which you became separated from in that moment of fear. It wasn't roaring in aggression, it was calling your name. It holds the map that leads out of the jungle, and the only way to get the map is to retrace your steps. This is the courage to turn around. It is not an act of aggression. You do not turn with a weapon in your hand. You let the machete fall to the ground. You unclench your fists. You open your palms as a gesture of peace, of reception. You take a breath, and with all the grace you can muster, you pivot on your heel, and you face the direction you came from. You face the sound. In this moment, the entire universe rearranges itself around you. The frantic energy of the chase dissolves. The desperate need to push forward vanishes. A new energy arises. The calm, centered, powerful energy of presence. You are no longer a fugitive. You are a sovereign, returning to a lost part of your own kingdom. Feel this pivot in your body. It is a physical release. Feel the muscles in your jaw, which have been clenched for a decade, begin to soften. Feel the shoulders, which have been raised to your ears in constant vigilance, begin to drop. Feel your stomach, that tight knot of anxiety, begin to uncoil. Take a breath that is deeper than the ones you have been taking. Let it travel all the way down into your belly, the space you have been protecting for so long. This is the physiology of courage. It is your body receiving the signal that the war is over. You are signaling to every cell in your being that you are no longer at war with your own experience. This simple physical act of turning and breathing deeply is a profound act of healing. It is a homecoming to your own flesh and blood. You are now facing the right way. A new path has appeared before you, a path you could not see while you were running. It is the path that leads inward. It is the path back to the source. The echoes may still be there, but they no longer sound like threats. They sound like invitations, like trail markers guiding you home. Your perspective has shifted entirely. You are no longer a victim of your past. You are a gentle pilgrim, walking back to a sacred site that lies within you. And as you prepare to take the first step on this new path, you realize you will need a different way of seeing. Your analytical mind, the one that wants to label and explain and judge, cannot guide you here. It is too loud. Your eyes, accustomed to looking for external dangers, are of no use. You must learn to perceive in a new way. You must learn the native tongue of your own inner world. It is a language that was spoken to you before words. It is the language of sensation. You have turned around. With a courage born of deep weariness and a quiet hope, you are now facing the landscape of your own inner world. But the tools you have used to navigate the outer world will not work here. Your intellect, so skilled at analyzing and organizing, will only circle the truth. Your eyes, so accustomed to scanning the horizon for threats and opportunities, will see nothing. To walk this new path, the path that leads back to the source, you must learn to use a different sense, a deeper faculty of perception. You must learn the mother tongue of your own being, a language you were fluent in before you ever spoke a word. This is the language of sensation. Your mind tells stories. It is a masterful, relentless storyteller. It takes a feeling and instantly weaves a narrative around it, complete with a past, a present, and a dreaded future. It is the voice that says, "My stomach is in knots because I am going to fail." It says, "My chest is heavy because no one loves me." It says, "My throat is tight because I can never speak my truth." For your entire life, you have listened to these stories, believing them to be the truth. But they are not the truth. They are the mind's interpretation of the truth. The raw, unfiltered truth lies beneath the story, in the sensation itself. The knot, the heaviness, the tightness. This is where the wound speaks directly, without commentary. And this is the language we must now learn to read. Think of your body as an ancient and sacred text. It contains the complete, unabridged history of your soul's journey on this earth. It is a book written not with ink and paper, but with nerve endings, muscle fibers, and the subtle flow of energy. Every experience you have ever had is recorded in its pages. The joys have left their imprint as lightness, as warmth, as openness. And the wounds, the traumas, the griefs have also left their mark. They are recorded as contractions, as cold spots, as areas of density, as a silent, vibrational hum. We were all born fluent in this language. As an infant, you did not need to think, "I am hungry." You simply felt the raw sensation of emptiness and cried out. You did not need to analyze your fear. You felt the jolt of adrenaline and instinctively sought comfort. There was no separation between feeling and being. Then, the thinking mind came online. It was a powerful new tool, and it quickly became the ruler of your kingdom. It taught you to ignore your body's signals. It taught you that it was not polite to cry, not convenient to be tired, not acceptable to be angry. It taught you to push through pain, to numb discomfort, to live from the neck up. You slowly, systematically, became illiterate in your own native tongue. You forgot how to read the most important book you will ever own. Our task now is not to learn something new, but to remember something ancient. It is to gently dust off the cover of this sacred book and learn to trace its letters with the fingertip of your awareness once more. Let us practice this together now. If it is safe for you to do so, allow your eyes to gently close. Take a slow, easy breath, and with the out-breath, let your awareness drop out of the busy courthouse of your mind and into the quiet temple of your body. Let go of any need to change or fix anything you find. We are not here as mechanics. We are here as curious, compassionate librarians. Our only job is to notice what is written on the page. Begin by bringing your awareness to your jaw. Without judgment, simply notice what is there. Is there a tightness, a clenching? Can you feel the pressure of your teeth? Do not ask why. Do not tell the story about the stress you are under. Simply feel the pure sensation of tightness. That is a word. Now, let your awareness drift down into your throat. Is there a lump, a feeling of constriction, as if something is caught there? Is it difficult to swallow? Again, release the story. Just feel the raw data of constriction. That is another word in this primal language. Gently move your attention into your chest, the home of your heart. What do you feel here? Is there an ache, a hollowness, a feeling of pressure, as if a weight is resting upon you? Or perhaps you feel a fluttering, a vibration of anxiety. Let go of the person or the memory you associate with this feeling. Just be with the pure physical quality of it. Heaviness, ache, vibrating. These are all sacred words. Now, travel down into your solar plexus, the soft, vulnerable area just below your sternum. This is a common place for fear and shame to reside. What is the texture of the sensation here? Is it a nauseous swirl, a hard knot, a feeling of being empty and exposed? Be a neutral observer. Notice the sensation as you would notice a cloud in the sky. It is just there. Knot, swirl, emptiness. Continue down into your belly. Does it feel soft and relaxed, or is it hard and tight, as if bracing for a blow? Can you feel a coldness there, or a burning? These are all messages. These are direct communications from the wounded parts of you. For so long, they have been sending these signals, and for so long, the signals have been ignored, or medicated, or numbed. Today, for the first time perhaps, you are listening. You are saying to these parts, through your quiet attention, I feel you. I am here with you. As you do this, you will notice the storyteller, your mind, desperately trying to reclaim its authority. It will jump in with, yes, my stomach hurts because of what she said yesterday, or this tightness in my chest is my anxiety about the future. When this happens, smile at your mind, thank it for trying to be helpful, and then gently unhook from its story. Let the words of the story dissolve and return your focus to the raw sensation itself. What does the hurt actually feel like? Is it sharp? Is it dull? What does the anxiety feel like in your body? Is it a rapid vibration? Is it a cold feeling? Stay with the raw data. This is the practice, to uncouple sensation from story. The sensation is the reality. The story is a memory. Now, pick one area where the sensation feels most prominent, and very gently breathe into it. Imagine your breath is a warm, golden light, and you can direct it anywhere in your body. On the in-breath, imagine this light flowing towards and surrounding the area of tightness or pain. On the out-breath, do not try to push the feeling away. Simply imagine the area softening just 1%. You are not trying to get rid of the sensation. You are trying to make friends with it. You are bringing it the gentle oxygen of your presence. This is an act of profound kindness. You are tending to the untended places within you. What you are doing is learning to decode the language. You are discovering that what your mind calls anxiety is actually a collection of raw sensations, a rapid heartbeat, a vibration in the chest, a tightness in the throat. You are learning that what your mind calls grief might be a profound hollowness in your belly and a heavy ache behind your eyes. By staying with the sensation, You stay in the present moment where healing actually happens. When you jump to the story, you are back in the past or the future where you are powerless. The sensation is the doorway. The story is the wall. You have now learned the first letters of the alphabet of your own being. You are tracing the words in your own sacred book. This is the foundation upon which our entire conversation with the wound will be built. We are no longer blinded by the loud, often deceiving stories of the mind. We are grounded in the undeniable truth of the body. We can read the words now: tightness, hollowness, burning, ake. The next step is to create a space so safe, so compassionate, that these single words can begin to string themselves together. We will invite them to form sentences. We will invite them to tell us why they are here. We will finally give the wound a voice. You have learned the alphabet of the body. You have sat in stillness and traced the letters of tightness, ache, hollowness, and heat. You have uncoupled the raw data of sensation from the runaway stories of the mind. This is a profound achievement. You have become a reader of your own sacred text. But these letters, these sensations, are not random. They are the building blocks of a story that has been waiting for years to be told. Our next step on this pilgrimage inward is perhaps the most sacred of all. It is to move from simply reading the words to listening to the voice that speaks them. It is time to create a space so profoundly safe, so deeply compassionate, that the wound itself feels it can finally speak its truth. For your entire life, your relationship with this pain has been one of conflict or neglect. You have tried to silence it, to bargain with it, to numb it, to exile it, but you have never truly listened to it. To listen, not with the intention to fix, but with the intention to understand. To listen, not with the ears of a judge, but with the heart of a friend. This act of listening is the beginning of all alchemy. It is the agent of transformation that can turn the lead of old pain into the gold of wisdom. Let us use an image. Imagine that your being is a house. For years, you have lived on the upper floors. You have kept them tidy, well lit, and presentable to the world. But there is a basement in your house. And in that basement, a guest has been living for a very long time. This guest is the wounded part of you, the carrier of the original pain. When the pain first occurred, you, as the homeowner, did not know what to do with such a raw, overwhelming presence. So you did what seemed most logical. You guided the guest down the stairs, into the dark, and locked the door, hoping the problem would go away. But it never did. From the basement, the guest has been trying to get your attention. The strange chills you feel are the guest shivering in the cold. The knots in your stomach are the guest huddled in fear. The unexplained anger is the guest rattling the pipes in frustration. The echoes you hear in the valley are the guest's muffled cries seeping up through the floorboards. Your journey so far acknowledging the weight, stopping the chase, learning the language of sensation, has been the act of walking to the basement door. You have your hand on the knob. Now, with deep and gentle courage, we will turn it. We will unlock the door, not to drag the guest out, but to open a pathway. We will go upstairs and prepare the living room, the space of your conscious, loving awareness. We make it warm and safe. We light a fire in the hearth. And then we will stand at the top of the stairs and extend the most tender of invitations. We will say inwardly, "You can come up now if you want to. It is safe here. I am ready to listen." And so we practice. Find a place of quiet. Allow your body to settle. Close your eyes and return to that inner landscape, that temple of your being. First, create your safe space, your inner living room. It can be any place, real or imagined, that feels completely peaceful to you. A sunlit library with comfortable chairs, a mossy clearing in a forest, a quiet room by the sea. See it, feel it, know that you are utterly safe here. This is the space of the witness, the compassionate homeowner. Now, bring your awareness to your body. Scan it gently until you find a sensation that is calling for your attention. It might be that familiar tightness in your chest or that hollow ache in your belly. Do not force it. Just notice which sensation feels most present today. As you rest your awareness on it, allow an image or a shape to form. Perhaps the tightness in your chest looks like a small, frightened bird in a cage. Perhaps the knot in your stomach looks like a tightly coiled rope. Or perhaps it simply looks like a younger version of you, frozen at a certain age. There is no right or wrong image. Trust what arises. Now, gently visualize yourself inviting this shape, this form, this younger you, into your safe inner room. See it enter, perhaps hesitantly, perhaps fearfully. See yourself as the wise and loving homeowner gesture towards a comfortable chair. You do not rush it. You do not interrogate it. You simply offer it a space to be. And then you ask the gentlest of questions. You can ask it out loud, in a whisper, or silently in your mind. The questions are not, "Why are you here?" or "When will you leave?" The questions are born of pure compassion. You ask, "What is it like to be you?" You ask, "What do you need me to know?" You ask, "What have you been holding for so long?" And then you do the hardest and simplest thing of all. You listen. You listen with your entire being. The answer may not come in clear, articulate sentences. It may come as a sudden wave of emotion. A deep, heaving sadness may rise up from a place you did not know existed. If tears come, let them flow. These are not tears of self-pity. These are sacred waters, a cleansing rain that is washing the dust from the pages of your soul. Do not choke them back. Let them be your offering. The answer may come as anger. A hot, surging energy might rise in you, a rage at the injustice of what happened. Do not be afraid of this fire. It is a holy fire. It is the energy of a boundary that was crossed. Let yourself feel its heat, its power, without needing to direct it at anyone. To simply allow this energy to be felt, to be witnessed by you, is to validate the part of you that was wronged. The answer may come as a series of images, a movie of a forgotten memory playing in your mind's eye. It may come as a set of words that drop into your awareness, or it may simply be a profound, non-verbal shift in the sensation itself, a slight uncoiling of the knot, a slight warming of the cold place. Receive it all, without judgment, without censorship, without analysis. Your only job in this moment is to be the loving witness. You are the compassionate adult presence that this wounded part of you has been searching for its entire life. You are finally giving it what it has always needed, your unconditional presence. You are saying through your attention, "I am here, I am not leaving, I can handle this." You can finally rest. As you sit in this sacred communion, listening to the stories, feeling the emotions, you will begin to notice patterns. You will hear certain phrases repeated, certain themes emerging from the raw data of the pain. As the tears of grief flow, you might hear the underlying belief, "I am all alone." As the fire of anger burns, you might feel the core conviction, "The world is not a safe place." As the shame reveals itself, you may hear the devastating verdict, "It was all my fault," or "I am fundamentally unlovable." These are not just passing thoughts. These are the foundational beliefs that were forged in the fire of that original moment. They are the unconscious laws that have been governing your life ever since. Hearing the story is the first step. Identifying these core foundational beliefs is the next. We have welcomed the guest. Now, we must understand the world they were forced to build for themselves. As you sit in the quiet sanctuary of your own presence, having listened to the voice of the wound, a new clarity begins to dawn. You have heard the stories, felt the ancient grief, and allowed the holy fire of anger to move through you. And within these raw and honest expressions, you have started to hear the refrains, the recurring melodies of pain. I am not safe. I am not enough. I am unlovable. It was my fault. I will always be alone. Listen closely to these phrases. They are more than just thoughts. They are more than just sad stories. They are the very bedrock of a world. They are foundational beliefs, forged in the incandescent fire of a moment you could not otherwise survive. A belief is a thought that has been baptized in the intense emotion of a significant experience. It is a simple thought, like, I am alone, that gets supercharged with the terror of abandonment, and in that flash of energy, it ceases to be a thought and becomes a truth. It solidifies. It crystallizes. It becomes a fundamental law in the constitution of your inner universe. From that moment on, every experience, every interaction is filtered through this law. You do not see the world as it is. You see the world as your beliefs dictate it must be. These beliefs were not a mistake. They were an act of desperate, brilliant genius. They were the mind's heroic attempt to create order out of chaos, to find a reason for the unthinkable, and to devise a strategy for survival. Let us return to the image of the forge. Imagine your younger self, standing in the overwhelming heat and noise of a traumatic moment. The world has ceased to make sense. In that fire, a choice must be made in an instant. A meaning must be assigned. The mind, in its incredible wisdom, grabs the nearest, hottest piece of metal an idea and hammers it into a protective shape. The idea is, if I am perfect, they won't hurt me again. In the fire, this idea is forged into a heavy, polished helmet of perfectionism. The idea is, if nobody sees me, nobody can harm me. This is forged into a breastplate of invisibility. The idea is, if I anticipate every possible danger, I will be safe. This is hammered into the gauntlets of hypervigilance. The idea is, if I can just figure out what I did wrong, I can prevent it from reoccurring. This becomes the heavy shield of self-blame. And so, piece by piece, you were outfitted with a full suit of armor, and you walked out of the fire, clanking and heavy, but alive. We must pause here and offer a moment of profound reverence for this armor. Do not look upon it with contempt. It is not your enemy. This armor was a masterpiece of self-preservation. It was the guardian of your fragile, incandescent soul. It deflected blows that would have otherwise shattered you. It allowed you to navigate a world that felt impossibly hostile. So, before we do anything else, let us thank it. Place a hand on your heart, and inwardly, or in a whisper, say, "Thank you. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for getting me through the fire. Your service was essential. I would not be here without you." Feel the sincerity of this gratitude. To fight the armor is to fight the part of you that fought to survive. We will not do that. We will approach it with the gentle respect one shows an old, loyal, and battle-scarred soldier. But here is the new truth. You are no longer in the fire. The battle, for the most part, is over. And you, the wearer, have grown. Yet the armor has not. It remains the same size it was when it was first forged. And now, it is painfully restrictive. It is impossibly heavy. The helmet of perfectionism, once a shield from criticism, now blocks the warm sun of praise and encouragement. It keeps you striving, exhausted, never able to rest in the simple truth of your own goodness. The breastplate of invisibility, which once helped you hide, now prevents anyone from truly seeing your light, from connecting with the magnificent heart that beats beneath it. The gauntlets of hypervigilance, which once helped you scan for danger, now prevent your hands from relaxing enough to receive a gift or to hold another's hand in simple trust. The shield of self-blame, which once gave you a false sense of control, now forces you to bow under a crushing weight of responsibility for things that were never your fault. This armor, your greatest asset, has become your heaviest burden. It is the silent weight you carry. It is the source of the echoes in the valley. It is time to examine its pieces, not to destroy them, but to understand them so intimately that you can finally find the buckles and learn how to set them down. Let us look closely at the most common pieces of this armor. See if you recognize your own. First, there is the great and heavy mantle of unworthiness. Its foundational belief is, I am not good enough, or its deeper, more painful cousin, I am fundamentally flawed. This belief was often forged when love or approval was conditional, or when you were criticized, neglected, or compared unfavorably to others. The brilliant, tragic logic of this belief is that if you already believe you are unworthy, then rejection becomes predictable. It hurts, but it does not shatter your worldview. It confirms what you already know. The armor you wear is people-pleasing, constantly performing and giving to earn scraps of validation. Or it is the armor of arrogance, a desperate attempt to project an image of supreme worthiness to hide the terrifying feeling of worthlessness within. Its cost is immense. It is the inability to set boundaries, the chronic undervaluing of your skills, the acceptance of disrespectful treatment, and the deep, aching feeling that you must perpetually strive for a state of enoughness that forever remains just out of reach. Next, there is the rigid armor of unsafety. Its law is, the world is a dangerous place. I cannot trust others. I must always be on guard. This was forged in moments of genuine danger, betrayal, or chaos, where your trust was broken or your environment was unpredictable. The logic is clear. If you never let your guard down, you will never be surprised by an attack. You will see it coming. The armor is hypervigilance, a nervous system perpetually scanning for threats. It is control, the compulsive need to manage every detail of your life and the lives of those around you to prevent disaster. It is isolation, the preemptive retreat from connection to avoid the possibility of betrayal. The cost of this armor is the death of spontaneity. It is the inability to rest, the constant hum of anxiety, the physical tension in your body, and the profound loneliness of a life lived behind fortifications, unable to experience the messy, beautiful, and ultimately nourishing reality of interdependent connection. Then we find the sticky, clinging armor of unlovability and abandonment. Its core beliefs are, I am unlovable, and everyone I love will eventually leave me. This piece is forged in early experiences of loss, inconsistent affection, or outright abandonment. Its painful logic dictates that if you accept abandonment as an inevitability, you can try to control the timing of it. The armor takes the form of codependency, clinging so tightly to another person that they cannot leave, sacrificing your own needs to become indispensable. Or it takes the opposite form, the preemptive strike. You push people away, find fault, and sabotage the relationship the moment it becomes intimate, just to prove the belief correct on your own terms. The cost is a life of relational turmoil. It is the constant fear in your connections, the jealousy, the need for reassurance, and the tragic fulfillment of your own prophecy, leaving you perpetually in the painful cycle of attachment and loss, unable to experience the steady peace of secure love. And there is the crushing armor of powerlessness. The belief is, I am helpless. I have no control over my life. Bad things just happen to me. This is forged when your will has been repeatedly overridden, when your choices were taken away, when you were genuinely a victim of overwhelming circumstances. The logic is a form of surrender. If you accept that you have no power, you are absolved of the responsibility to try and fail. The armor is a cloak of victimhood, a narrative that explains your life as a series of events enacted upon you. It is passivity and indecision, a deep reluctance to make choices or take action because you fundamentally believe your actions do not matter. The cost is a disempowered life. It is the frustration of watching your dreams pass you by, the resentment towards those who seem to move through the world with ease, and the atrophy of your own divine will your power to create and choose your experience. To see this armor clearly is the first step toward liberation. To name it is to separate it from yourself. You are not unworthiness. You are a being wearing the armor of unworthiness. You are not unsafety. You are a soul wearing the armor of unsafety. This distinction is everything. Now, let us begin the gentle practice of unbuckling. Bring to mind the belief, the piece of armor that feels most familiar to you. Feel its weight, its shape, its temperature. Hold it in your awareness. First, as we have practiced, thank it for its service. Thank you, armor of perfectionism, for trying to keep me from being criticized. I see you. I honor your intention. Now, we will ask it 4 gentle questions. We are not attacking it. We are simply becoming curious. Let the answers arise from the quiet wisdom beneath your thinking mind. Ask your belief, for example, I am not good enough. The first question, is it true? Let the answer come. The conditioned mind will likely scream, yes, of course it's true. Just notice that. Then ask the second question, can I absolutely know, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that it is true? Can you know with 100% certainty that you are, in every context, for all of time, not enough? Can you know what is true in the mind of God, in the heart of the universe? This question is a small crack of light in the steel. A space for doubt appears. Now, ask the third question. How do I react? What happens when I believe this thought is true? Witness the result of wearing the armor. When I believe I am not good enough, I don't speak up in meetings. I compare myself to others and feel despair. I work until I am exhausted. I feel a tightness in my chest. I treat myself harshly. I cannot enjoy my successes. See the cause and effect. See the full cost of the armor. Feel the chafing, the weight, the pain it causes you right now. And finally, the most liberating question of all, who would I be without this thought? Close your eyes and imagine it. Who would you be if you simply could not think the thought, I am not good enough? What would you feel in your body? A lightness, an openness in your chest? How would you treat others? How would you treat yourself? What would you do? Would you start that project? Would you take that dance class? Would you speak your truth? Would you simply rest? Allow yourself to feel, just for a moment, the immense freedom and peace of a life without that single, heavy piece of armor. That feeling is your truth. That lightness is your birthright. This inquiry is not a one-time fix. It is a practice. It is the practice of finding the buckles on your armor. Each time you question a belief, you loosen a strap. Each time you see its cost, you realize how much you long to take it off. And in seeing who you would be without it, you remember the radiant, unarmored being that has been living underneath it all along. The armor is a construct. It is a story. It is a magnificent, outdated survival strategy. But it is not you, and the growing awareness that you are not the armor, that you were never truly broken but only heavily burdened, is the key that will unlock everything. It allows us to finally challenge the greatest myth of all, the myth of the broken self. We have stood before the forge and examined the armor that was created for you in fire. We have seen the logic of its construction, felt its restrictive weight, and begun to question the beliefs that hold it in place. Underlying all of this armor, beneath every single plate of steel, is a single foundational assumption. It is the myth that has held you captive for a lifetime. It is the belief that you are, in some fundamental way, broken. You believe the wound did more than just hurt you. You believe it shattered you. You believe there is an essential flaw, a cracked foundation, a piece of you that was irreparably damaged. And this belief, this myth of your own brokenness, is the source of your deepest suffering. Today, we will not try to fix what is broken. We will dismantle the myth that you were ever broken in the first place. This feeling of being broken is not a fiction. The pain is real. The sense of fragmentation is real, but it is a profound misunderstanding of your own nature. You have mistaken the weather for the sky. You are not the storm that passed through you. You are the sky that holds the storm. Let this image settle into your being. You, in your truest essence, are the sky, vast, open, limitless, and fundamentally peaceful. Before the wound, during the wound, and after the wound, your nature as the sky remains unchanged. Your consciousness, the awareness that is reading these words right now, is that sky. It is the silent, spacious container for all of your experiences. It is eternally present, eternally whole. The wound, the trauma, the pain that was a storm. A storm can be terrifyingly real. It can be violent, with howling winds of fear, torrential rains of grief, and sharp, blinding flashes of anger and shame. When you are in the middle of a storm, it is all you can see. The storm fills the horizon. It darkens the world. And in that moment of overwhelming intensity, you forget that you are the sky. You believe you are the storm. This is the great hypnotic trick of trauma. It makes you identify with the event, with the pain. You say, I am broken, I am traumatized, I am a depressed person. You have fused your identity with the weather pattern. But look at the nature of a storm. It is a temporary event. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It is a disturbance of energy moving through the sky. It is not the sky itself. And here is the deepest truth, the one I want you to feel in your bones. The storm cannot harm the sky. The most ferocious hurricane does not leave a bruise on the heavens. The blackest thundercloud does not stain the deep, blue-black infinity of space. The lightning does not crack the firmament. When the storm has passed, and all storms, without exception, eventually pass, the sky remains. It is as it has always been, untouched, unstained, and utterly whole. The memory of the storm might linger. The ground below might be scarred. But the sky, your true nature, is inviolable. The wound happened to you. It did not become you. Let us bring this down from the realm of metaphor and into your lived experience. You believe you are broken, and yet, have you not experienced moments of peace since the storm? Have you not laughed genuinely at a joke? Have you not felt a moment of awe watching a sunset, or a sense of connection listening to a piece of music? Have you not felt love for a pet, a friend, a child? Think of these moments. They are not anomalies. They are evidence. A shattered cup cannot hold even a drop of water. If you were truly, fundamentally broken, you would be incapable of holding joy, peace, love, or wonder. The fact that you can, even for a fleeting moment, experience these things is definitive proof that your capacity for them is whole and intact. These moments are the blue sky peeking through the clouds. They are reminders from your deepest self, whispering, I am still here. I was never gone. The language we use keeps us trapped in the myth. When you say, I am broken, you are casting a powerful spell upon yourself. You are speaking a verdict into existence. It is a statement of permanent identity, a life sentence. Let us experiment with a new, more truthful language. For the next week, try to catch yourself when you use the phrase I am to describe a painful state. Instead of saying I am anxious, try saying I am the sky of awareness and a cloud of anxiety is passing through. Instead of saying I am sad, try I am a vast and peaceful self and I am feeling a wave of sadness. Instead of I am broken, try I am a whole and complete being who is carrying the painful memory of a past event. Can you feel the difference? The first set of phrases is a cage. The second set is a key. It separates you, the timeless subject, from the temporary object of your experience. The wound, the trauma, the pain, it is not your identity. It is something you carry. Remember the silent weight? You are not the weight. You are the one whose shoulders have grown so strong from carrying it. You cannot set down your own being, but you can, eventually, set down a burden you are carrying. By seeing that you are the sky, not the storm, you begin to disidentify from the pain. It is no longer my pain, in the sense that it defines you. It becomes the pain, an impersonal field of energy that you have been holding, for very good reasons, and which you can now learn to release. Let yourself feel into this new identity now. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself not as a person struggling with problems, but as the vast open sky. Feel your own boundless nature. Your borders extend into infinity. Now, see your thoughts, your fears, your painful memories as clouds. Here comes a dark cloud of self-doubt. Here comes a jagged lightning flash of an old anger. Here comes the rumbling thunder of anxiety about the future. From the perspective of the sky, you do not panic. You do not try to bat the clouds away. You do not fear them. You simply notice them. You have enough space in you to hold all of it. The sky does not judge the weather. It allows it to be what it is, knowing that it, too, shall pass. This perspective is not one of cold, detached dissociation. It is the ultimate ground of compassion. From the vastness of the sky, you can look upon the raging storm of your pain with a profound and tender love. You can see its power, its fury, its grief. And you are not afraid, because you know it cannot harm your essence. You have enough room to let it rage, to let it weep, to let it spend its energy, all while holding it in the safety of your own boundless presence. You become your own safe container. You become the loving parent to the frightened child within, the calm sky holding the turbulent weather. This is the great turning point of healing. It is the shift from "I must fix myself because I am broken" to "I must tend to this pain because I am whole." A broken being has no resources. A whole being has infinite resources, the resources of presence, compassion, patience, and love. You are not a shattered vessel in need of repair. You are the ocean in a single drop, containing the entirety of the cosmos within you. Your wholeness was never in question. It was only veiled. And now, from this unshakable ground of your own wholeness, from this expansive perspective of the sky, you can do something new. You no longer need to run from the storm or fight it or numb it. You have the capacity and the stability to approach it with a new intention, not just to endure it, but to understand it, to learn from it. For within the storm, within its winds, its rain, its lightning is a tremendous amount of energy and information. There is wisdom trapped inside the pain. And now that you know you are the sky, you are finally ready to perform the great work of the soul, the sacred alchemy of turning pain into power. You are the sky, you are not the storm. From this profound and unshakable ground of your own wholeness, we can now turn to face the storm not as a victim, but as an alchemist. The ancient alchemists believed that within the most common, despised materials like lead lay the hidden potential for the most precious substance on earth, gold. This was not just a chemical pursuit, it was a deeply spiritual metaphor. They knew that the greatest treasures are not found by seeking the light, but by having the courage to work with the darkness. Your pain, your wound, your deepest suffering, this is your lead. It is the raw, ugly, and heavy material that you have spent a lifetime trying to discard. The alchemist, however, knows that this is the prima materia, the foundational substance from which all miracles are born. It is not a curse. It is a crucible. And the sacred art we are about to learn is the alchemy of turning your deepest pain into your most radiant wisdom. First, let us enter the laboratory. The laboratory is your own being, your body-mind system. The primary vessel, the alchemical athanor, is your conscious awareness. We have spent time strengthening this vessel, realizing that it is vast, unbreakable, and capable of holding any experience. It is the sky itself. A weak or cracked vessel could not withstand the process to come, but you are not weak, and you were never broken. Your container is ready. The raw material, as we have said, is the pain itself. The knot in your stomach, the ache in your heart, the story of your sorrow. Bring it into the laboratory. Place it gently in the center of your awareness. For years you have judged this material as bad, wrong, something to be eradicated. The alchemist makes no such judgment. The alchemist looks upon the lead with reverence, for it holds a hidden potential. It is dense with trapped energy. It is rich with information. It is the key to everything. Now comes the most crucial element, the fire. What is the fire that can transform lead into gold? It is not force. It is not aggression. It is not analysis. The alchemical fire, the only flame that can create this transformation, is your sustained, compassionate, unwavering attention. It is the warmth of your loving presence, directed steadily at the raw material of your pain. It is the practice of sitting with the knot in your stomach, breathing into it, feeling its texture, its temperature, its vibration, without the need for it to go away. It is listening to the story of your grief without turning your head. It is allowing the energy of your anger to exist in your body without suppressing it or acting it out. This is the fire. You must understand something about this fire. It often intensifies the experience at first. When you bring your full, warm presence to a place within you that has been frozen and numb for years, it will begin to thaw. And the process of thawing is often intensely painful. It is the feeling of pins and needles in a limb that has fallen asleep. This is a critical stage. The mind will scream, "This isn't working, it's making it worse. Let's go back to numbing." But the alchemist knows this is the heat building. This is the lead beginning to melt. To stay present through this intensity, to keep breathing warmth and presence into the discomfort, is the great work. You are proving to the wounded parts of you that you are not going to abandon them again, no matter how uncomfortable their pain is. As the fire of your presence is sustained, a process known in alchemy as solve et coagula begins, to dissolve and to coagulate. First, the fire begins to dissolve the old, rigid structures. The knot in your stomach, held with your loving attention, may begin to loosen. The story you have told yourself 1,000 times, "It was all my fault," begins to lose its sharp edges. The solid, seemingly permanent structure of your pain begins to melt under the heat of your presence. It dissolves back into its primary elements, pure energy, pure sensation, pure memory. And then, from this dissolved, fluid state, something new can precipitate. Something new can coagulate and take form. As the slag of suffering is burned away, a gleaming golden bead begins to appear in the crucible. This is the wisdom. This is the gold. It is the insight, the understanding, the freedom that was always locked within the pain. What is this gold? It is not an abstract concept. It is a set of tangible, embodied virtues that become a permanent part of who you are. The first golden nugget to emerge is compassion. When you have sat in the fire of your own suffering, you can never again look at another human being's pain with judgment or indifference. You see their armor, and you know what it's like to wear it. You hear their story, and you recognize the echo of your own. Your pain carves out a space in your heart that can now hold the pain of the world. Your personal suffering is alchemized into a universal empathy. This is gold. Next, the gold of resilience is forged. By walking into the fire you feared most and discovering that you did not burn, you learn a truth that no one could ever teach you. You are stronger than you knew. You are more durable than your pain. This creates a deep, quiet confidence that settles in your bones. You no longer live in dread of the next storm because you know you are the sky. You know you can hold it. This is gold. Then, the gold of clarity emerges. Pain is a powerful teacher because it burns away the non-essential. When you sit with deep grief, the trivialities of daily life, the small worries, the petty grievances are incinerated. All that remains is what truly matters: love, connection, presence. Your wound becomes a compass, pointing you directly toward a life of meaning and purpose. The things you once chased lose their allure, and the things you once ignored become your greatest treasures. This is gold. From the fire, the gold of authenticity is born. The heat of your presence burns away the masks, the pretenses, the people-pleasing strategies you adopted to survive. You realize how much energy it took to be someone you are not. In the wake of that realization, a profound simplicity arises. You begin to speak your truth, not with aggression, but with a quiet weight. You begin to live in alignment with your deepest values. You stop performing and you start being. This is gold. And finally, the most precious gold of all is precipitated: freedom. The thing you were running from no longer holds any power over you, because you have walked willingly into its heart and found your own unbreakable wholeness there. The fear of feeling the pain is gone, and with its departure, you are liberated. You are free to love fully, knowing you can survive heartbreak. You are free to take risks, knowing you can survive failure. You are free to be your full, radiant, and unarmored self in the world. This is gold. Let us try a small piece of alchemy now. Bring to your mind a familiar discomfort, a small piece of your lead, perhaps a recurring anxiety or a persistent feeling of sadness. Locate it as a sensation in your body. Now, bring the fire. Bring your warm, steady, and loving attention to that spot. Breathe into it. Surround it with the heat of your presence. Do not try to change it. Simply be the alchemist, watching with compassionate curiosity. Ask it, not with your mind, but with your heart. What wisdom do you hold for me? What gold is hidden inside of you? Do not search for an answer in words. Just remain open, present, and willing to receive whatever insight may arise in its own time. The gold you create in this sacred laboratory is not just for you. It is not a treasure to be hoarded. This wisdom, this compassion, this freedom, it becomes your gift to the world. It changes your energetic signature. It transforms how you show up in your relationships, in your work, in your community. You become a healing presence, and you may discover that the lead you have been working with is older and deeper than you thought. You may find that some of the pain you carry is not yours alone, but is an echo passed down through generations. And the gold you forge has the power to heal not just your own past, but the past of your entire lineage. You have sat in the alchemist's fire, holding the raw ore of your pain in the compassionate flame of your presence. You have watched as the lead of suffering began to melt, and you have seen the first gleaming beads of golden wisdom appear. But as you continue this sacred work, you may come across a particular vein of awe that feels different, a sadness that feels deeper than your own life story, a fear that seems to have no origin in your personal experience, a pattern of struggle that you see not only in yourself, but in your parents, and perhaps in their parents before them. When you encounter this, you have arrived at a deeper, more mysterious layer of the work. You are beginning to touch the ancestral echo. We are not born as blank slates. We arrive in this world as the latest chapter in a very long story. We inherit our mother's eyes and our father's smile, but we also inherit the silent, invisible legacies of their joy, their resilience, their unresolved sorrows, and their unhealed wounds. You are not an isolated island. You are a peninsula, deeply and inextricably connected to the vast continent of your lineage. And just as the land of the peninsula is shaped by geological forces that occurred long before it had a name, your own inner landscape is shaped by emotional forces that were set in motion generations ago. Imagine your lineage as a great river flowing through time. The source, far back in the mists of history, was a pristine spring. The water that flows is the life force, the love, and the strength that has been passed down generation to generation, allowing you to be here today. Every generation is a stretch of this river. Now, imagine that one of your ancestors experienced a profound trauma, devastating war, a famine, a forced migration, the loss of a child, a deep betrayal. In that moment, the pain was too immense to be fully processed, too overwhelming to be grieved. So, in an act of survival, that pain was submerged. It became a great, heavy rock, sinking to the bottom of the riverbed. The river of life, your family's life force, had to continue flowing. So it found a way to move around the rock. In the next generation, the water in that part of the river became more turbulent, more agitated, for no apparent reason. This might have manifested as a free-floating anxiety or a quickness to anger. In the generation after that, the river, still diverting around the rock, began to wear away at the bank, creating a precarious instability. This could have become a pattern of unstable relationships or financial insecurity. By the time the river reaches you, the water may feel shallow or stagnant or perpetually troubled. You feel the effect, the anxiety, the insecurity, the sadness, but you look around at your own life and you cannot find the cause. That is because the cause, the great rock of the original trauma, is deep underwater and far upstream. You have inherited the echo of the impact, the turbulence created by an obstacle you cannot see. Many of the most stubborn patterns in our lives are these kinds of ancestral echoes. A family that has known starvation may carry a deep-seated scarcity mindset for generations, even when there is abundant wealth. A lineage that has experienced profound betrayal may pass down an unspoken mistrust of outsiders, a clannishness that keeps new love and new opportunities at bay. A family that has had to suppress its voice to survive persecution may produce generations of people who are inexplicably afraid to speak their truth. These are not character flaws. They are inherited survival strategies that have long outlived their original purpose. They are the emotional equivalent of phantom limb pain. The wound occurred on a body that is no longer here, but the pain signal is still being transmitted down the nerve of the family line. If this resonates with you, if you feel you are carrying a burden that is larger than your own life, know this: it is not a curse. It is a sacred calling. Often, the most sensitive person in a generation, the one who feels these echoes most acutely, the one often labeled the black sheep or too emotional, is in fact the soul the entire ancestral system has chosen to do the healing work. You have developed the consciousness and the courage that your ancestors, in their time of struggle, could not afford. You have learned, through your own journey, how to breathe underwater. You are the one who has been designated to dive down to the riverbed. Your work is not to curse the rock or to try and shatter it with dynamite. That would only create more debris. Your work, as the family alchemist, is to dive down with the light of your awareness. You find the great silent rock of submerged pain. You place your hands upon it not with force, but with reverence. You use the tools you have already cultivated. You bring the fire of your compassionate presence to this ancient pain. You say silently to your ancestors, "I see you. I see the hardship you endured. I am willing to feel, on your behalf, the grief you could not feel. I am willing to acknowledge the terror you had to suppress." And in this act of conscious, loving witness, a miracle occurs. The rock does not shatter, it begins to dissolve. As you offer it the warmth of your compassion, its grip on the riverbed begins to loosen. The frozen, trapped energy of the ancient trauma is finally allowed to move, to flow, to be released. And as the rock dissolves, the river begins to find its true, original course once more. The water runs clearer, the flow becomes stronger. You are not just healing yourself, you are healing the entire river. You are sending a wave of healing backwards to honor your ancestors, and you are clearing the path for the generations that are yet to come, so they will not have to navigate around the same unseen obstacle. Let us create a small ritual of this now. Sit quietly and bring your awareness to your breath. Imagine your ancestral line stretching out in a long line behind you. See your parents behind you, and behind them, their parents, and behind them, theirs, stretching back and back into the mists of time. Feel their presence. Feel the river of life that flows through them to you. First, acknowledge their strengths. Silently thank them for the resilience, the love, and the life force that they passed on, which allows you to be here. Now, acknowledge their burdens. Without needing to know the specific stories, say from your heart, "To all who have come before me, I acknowledge the sorrows you carried, the dreams that were unfulfilled, the pains that were unspoken. I see you, and I honor your struggle." Now, think of the golden wisdom you have forged from your own pain, the compassion, the freedom, the resilience. Imagine gathering this gold into a luminous sphere of light in your hands. And as an offering of love, send this golden light flowing back down the line, washing over every ancestor. It is a gift of peace. It is an offering that says, "The work you began, I am continuing. The pain that was unfinished in you is finding resolution in me. You may rest now." Finally, with deep love and respect, you can make a gentle declaration. Facing forward toward your own life, you can say, "I now release myself with love from the patterns and burdens that are not my own. I honor your journey, but I choose to walk my own path in freedom. I will carry your strength and your love, but I will set down your pain." Feel the shift. In healing yourself, you become an ancestor of a new kind. You become the one who broke the chain. You become the one who cleared the river. This act of personal liberation is a profound act of service. It reveals a truth we have been approaching all along. You are not now, nor have you ever been, alone in this work. Your healing connects you to a vast web of being, stretching not just back through time, but outward into the very fabric of the universe itself. You have journeyed inward, into the fire of your own heart. You have sat with the guest in the basement. You have examined the armor forged in your past, and you have dived into the great river of your lineage to heal the wounds of your ancestors. Through all of this, you may still feel the lingering presence of the most painful belief of all, the belief that you are, in the end, utterly alone in your experience. You may feel that your pain is so specific, so unique, that no one could ever truly understand. This feeling of isolation is the final, highest wall of the prison. It is the cruelest trick of suffering, convincing you that your pain separates you from the world, when in fact, it is the very thing that connects you to the heart of all of humanity. Today, we are going to tear down that wall, not with force, but with a quiet, radical expansion of your awareness. For so long, you have been like a solitary lighthouse keeper, stationed on a small rocky island of your own personal history. Your world has been defined by the boundaries of this island and enveloped in a thick, personal fogbank of your own stories, beliefs, and pain. You have tended to your light, your consciousness, your inner flame, because you had to, just to keep from crashing on your own shores. And in that dense fog, you believed you were the only one. You believed the entire universe consisted of your lonely rock and your solitary light, surrounded by an indifferent, empty ocean. This is the definition of suffering: to be a brilliant light, believing it is the only one in an infinite darkness. But you have been doing the work. You have been cleaning the lens of your lighthouse, polishing the mirrors, and strengthening the flame. You have been sitting with your pain, and this has made your inner light grow brighter, stronger, and more pure. And as your light intensifies, it begins to do something you never expected. It begins to pierce the edges of your own personal fog. And one night, in a moment of grace, You look out into what you thought was an empty abyss, and you see it. A faint, distant pulse of light blinking back at you. You hold your breath, and then you see another and another. And in a single, breathtaking, heart-stopping moment, you realize the truth. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You are part of a vast, ancient, and unbroken chain of lighthouses, stretching across the entire ocean of existence. Each keeper on their own island, each tending to their own unique pain, each believing they were completely isolated. The fog was the illusion. The network of light is the underlying reality. This is the great secret of the spiritual path. Your pain is not a barrier, it is a bridge. The details of your story are unique. The specific way your armor was forged is yours alone. But the essence of the experience, the raw feeling beneath the story, is the most universal language in existence. The feeling of abandonment has been felt by billions of souls. The terror of unsafety, the ache of unworthiness, the grief of loss, these are not your private, personal feelings. They are archetypal currents in the great ocean of human consciousness. When you have the courage to dive deep into your own personal sorrow, you do not find the bottom of your small, isolated well. You find that your well opens into the one ocean that connects all of humanity. You have not been feeling your sadness. You have been feeling the sadness. You have not been wrestling with your fear. You have been wrestling with the fear. You begin to recognize the others in the secret society of the healed heart. You see it in the eyes of a stranger, on a train, a certain depth, a quiet compassion, and you know, without a word being spoken, that they have also been in the fire. You read the words of a poet from 1,000 years ago, and they describe the landscape of your own soul so perfectly that you weep with recognition. You listen to a piece of music, and it articulates your longing more eloquently than you ever could. These are the other lighthouses, blinking back at you through time and space, saying, "We see you, we know, you belong." The very wound that you thought exiled you from the human race is, in fact, your initiation into it. This sense of connection then begins to expand beyond the human realm. Once the illusion of your personal separation is shattered, you begin to see that you are woven into the fabric of life itself. You watch a winter tree, stark and bare, and you understand its quiet trust in the coming spring, because you have known your own inner winters. You see a river flowing around a great boulder, and you recognize the patient, persistent nature of your own life force. You feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, and you realize it is the same fire that fuels the stars, the same fire that you have been cultivating in your own heart. The loneliness begins to seem absurd. How could you be alone when you are made of the same earth, breathing the same air, animated by the same mysterious energy as everything you see? You are not a visitor on this planet. You are a vital expression of it. You are the planet experiencing itself, healing itself, and awakening to itself through you. And even that is not the final expansion. You begin to sense that this web of life is not a random, mechanistic process. You feel a responsiveness from the universe. The right book falls off a shelf. The right person says the right thing at the right time. A moment of synchronicity confirms a hidden truth. You realize you are not just a part of a system, you are part of a conversation. The universe is not a silent, empty void. It is a conscious, intelligent, and loving presence. It is the ultimate lighthouse keeper. It is the source of all the lights. You are not a lonely cell. You are a cherished cell in the living, breathing body of the cosmos. And this cosmic body, this divine intelligence, wants you to heal. It wants you to be whole. It is conspiring in every moment to support your journey home. Let this feeling wash over you. The weight you have been carrying is not yours alone. It is a shared weight. Imagine millions of other souls at this very moment also working to alchemize their pain. Imagine the ancestors behind you, relieved and grateful that you are doing this work. Imagine the cosmos around you, holding you in a supportive embrace. The burden of your pain does not diminish, but your capacity to carry it becomes infinite, because you are no longer carrying it with your small, separate self. You are carrying it with all of life. You are held. You are supported. You are a crucial and beloved part of an immense and beautiful whole. There is a profound peace that comes from this realization. The frantic need to fix yourself, to solve your pain single-handedly, begins to dissolve. You can relax. You can trust the process. You can trust that you are being guided. This deep knowing, this felt sense of being fundamentally supported and connected to all that is, gives you the final piece of courage you need for the next stage of our journey. It gives you the strength to stop fighting your reality in any way. It gives you the grace to lay down your weapons completely and utterly, and to finally embrace the supreme power of radical acceptance. You are held. In the vast, interconnected web of existence, you are a cherished and integral part. You are supported by the strength of your ancestors, connected to the silent knowing of countless souls on this same path, and held in the loving intelligence of the universe itself. Feel the truth of this support. Let it be a great, soft cushion upon which you can finally, truly rest. From this profound sense of safety, we can now approach the most powerful and misunderstood art in the entire spiritual journey, the art of radical acceptance. The word acceptance may trigger an immediate resistance in you. Your mind may protest, associating it with defeat, with weakness, with condoning a wrong that was done to you, or with giving up on a better future. If I accept this, the mind argues, it means it was okay that it happened. If I accept this sadness, it will never leave. If I accept my current situation, I will lose all motivation to change it. These are the fears of the ego, which believes that its primary job is to fight, to struggle, and to control reality. But this is a profound misunderstanding of power. Radical acceptance is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. It is not resignation. It is a revolution. True acceptance is not a statement about the past or the future. It is a courageous, non-negotiable relationship with the present moment. It is the simple, yet earth-shattering, act of ending your war with what is. For years, perhaps your entire life, you have been living in a state of subtle or overt resistance to reality. A quiet, pervasive no has been the soundtrack to your existence. This pain shouldn't be here. That event should not have happened. I shouldn't be feeling this way. Each of these thoughts is an argument with reality. And who wins every single time when you argue with reality? Reality does. To resist what is already so is the very definition of insanity. It is a recipe for perpetual suffering. It is the act of endlessly beating your fists against a stone wall and wondering why your hands are bloody. Acceptance is the wisdom to stop beating the wall, to turn, and to notice that there was always a doorway right beside you. Let us be clear about what we are accepting. You do not need to accept that what happened was right or good. You are not condoning abuse, injustice, or cruelty. You are simply, courageously accepting the undeniable fact that it happened. It is a part of your history. It is a fact in the universe. To fight this fact is to expend your precious life force on trying to change a past that cannot be changed. Likewise, you do not need to accept that a painful feeling will be here forever. You are simply accepting that it is here now. In this moment, sadness is present. In this moment, fear is present. To fight the feeling that is already here is to add a second layer of suffering on top of the first. There is a profound teaching in Buddhism about the two arrows. The first arrow is the unavoidable pain of life itself, sickness, loss, betrayal, the moments of trauma. These arrows will fly. No one is immune. But the second arrow is the one we shoot into ourselves. It is the arrow of our resistance, our story about the pain. It is the thought, "This is terrible, this shouldn't be happening, it's unfair, I can't stand it." The first arrow causes pain, the second arrow causes suffering. Most of our chronic anguish is not from the first arrow, which is long since past, but from the thousands of second arrows we keep shooting into the original wound. Radical acceptance is the act of putting down the bow and quiver of the second arrow. It is the choice to feel the sting of the first arrow without adding the poison of resistance to it. This resistance is not just mental, it is deeply physical. It is the constant, low-grade tension in your body. It is the clenched jaw, the raised shoulders, the tightened belly, the shallow breath. Your body has been physically fighting your reality for years. It has been braced for a battle with what has already occurred. This is utterly exhausting. Imagine holding a large beach ball underwater. It takes a tremendous, constant, and draining effort. You can do it for a while, but eventually your muscles will scream, and you will be too tired to do anything else, like swim or play, or enjoy the sun. Resistance to your reality is exactly like this. The beach ball is the feeling or the memory you are trying to push down, and most of your life force is being consumed by the simple, unconscious act of holding it out of sight. Acceptance is the choice to finally let go, to allow the ball to bob up to the surface. It might be uncomfortable to look at for a moment, but look at the immense energy you get back. Look at the freedom in your arms. This brings us to the great metaphor of the wave. Imagine you are standing in the ocean and a large wave is coming toward you. This wave is a painful emotion, a difficult situation, a traumatic memory. Resistance is turning your back to the wave or trying to stand your ground and push it back with your bare hands. What happens? You are tossed and tumbled, you get water up your nose, you are slammed into the sand, you are battered, exhausted, and you have had no effect on the wave whatsoever. You have fought the entire ocean, and you have lost. This has been your strategy so far. Now, imagine a different approach. This is the approach of the surfer. The surfer does not fight the wave. The surfer respects the wave. They study its power, its direction, its speed. The surfer turns and aligns with the energy of the wave. They do not control the wave, but by accepting its reality and skillfully engaging with it, they are able to ride it. They use its immense power to carry them forward, to bring them to shore. This is radical acceptance. It is turning to face the wave of your reality. It is feeling its power, acknowledging its presence, and allowing it to move through you without resistance. You learn to surf your own emotions. You feel the sadness, the anger, the fear, and you allow its energy to flow through your body without becoming identified with it and without being destroyed by it. You learn that all waves eventually crest and dissolve back into the ocean. No emotion is final. By allowing it to be, you allow it to pass. Let us now engage in a direct practice of this. Settle into your body. Let's not start with the biggest tsunami of your life. Let's start with a small ripple. Bring to mind something in your current reality that you are resisting. It could be a physical sensation, like a sore back. It could be an emotion, like boredom or irritation. It could be a circumstance, like a noise outside your window. Choose one small thing to which you are saying no. First, just notice the resistance itself. Where is the no in your system? Is it a thought in your head? That noise is so annoying. Is it a feeling? Frustration? Anger? Is it a physical tension? A tightening in your forehead? A clenching in your fists? Just notice the texture and flavor of your resistance. Do not judge it. The resistance is also a part of reality. Now, we will practice a three-part acceptance. Silently, in your own mind, say the first phrase. I acknowledge the reality that this sensation, emotion, circumstance is present right now. You are simply stating a fact. The noise is here. The back pain is here. The feeling is here. Take a breath. Next, we accept the second arrow. We say, I acknowledge that I am feeling resistance to this reality. I am having the thought that I don't want it to be here. This is revolutionary. You stop resisting your own resistance. You allow the no to be there, alongside the thing itself. You are not fighting on two fronts anymore. Take another breath. And now, the third, most spacious phrase. Just for this moment, I allow both the reality and my resistance to it to be here. You are not committing to allowing it forever, just for this one single moment. Imagine your awareness expanding like the sky, creating enough space to hold both the unwanted thing and your dislike of it. There is room for all of it in you. Now, let this acceptance move into your body. This is the somatic surrender. Wherever you feel the tension of resistance, consciously soften around it. Unclench your jaw. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Let your belly become soft. Imagine your body becoming porous, like a screen. Imagine the energy of the unwanted feeling is now able to flow through you, instead of hitting the solid wall of your resistance. Breathe into it. Soften around it. Allow, 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 allow. And what happens in that space of allowing? What is there when the fight stops? There is peace. It may be subtle at first, but it is there. It is the peace of the warrior who has finally laid down his sword. It is the quiet hum of liberated energy. It is the stillness of the deep ocean beneath the waves. This peace is your true nature. It was here all along, obscured by the churning waters of your fight with life. Radical acceptance is not a passive state. It is the fertile ground from which all wise action is born. You cannot solve a problem that you refuse to fully acknowledge. You cannot heal a wound that you pretend is not there. By accepting the reality of your present situation, you are finally standing on solid ground. And from this solid ground, you can see clearly, perhaps for the first time, what the next wise step might be. All the energy you were using to push the wave back is now yours to use. It is an immense inheritance of life force. And with this reclaimed energy, you are no longer a victim of the weather in your inner world. You can become its conscious and loving caretaker. You can finally begin to tend to your inner garden. You have stood on the shore of your being and learned to surf the waves of your reality. You have stopped fighting the ocean. The immense energy you once expended holding back the tide is now returning to you, a powerful current of life force that is yours to direct. The war is over. The storm of resistance has passed, and in the quiet, peaceful aftermath, you can now turn your attention to the landscape itself. You are no longer just a survivor of the weather. You are now the conscious caretaker of the land. And this inner land, your mind, is a garden. For a long time, this garden has been left untended, exposed to the elements, and left to its own devices. Now, with this newfound peace and energy, you, the loving gardener, have returned. And it is time to put your hands in the soil. Let us look at this garden together, with eyes of compassion, not judgment. At first glance, it may look like a chaotic wilderness. It is overgrown with weeds. These weeds are the negative core beliefs we have already examined. The thorny, tenacious weed of unworthiness, which tells you that you are not enough. The deep-rooted, stubborn weed of fear, which insists that the world is unsafe. The creeping, strangling vine of shame, which chokes the life out of joy and vulnerability. For years, you have seen these weeds and hated them, tried to slash at them, or simply turned your back and pretended they weren't there. But a gardener knows a secret. Weeds are not evil. They are simply masterful survivors. They are brilliant at growing in difficult conditions. They grew here for a reason, in the soil that was left untended. Our first act as the gardener is to release our judgment of the weeds and simply acknowledge their powerful presence. Look too at the soil itself. After years of being trampled by the boots of self-criticism and baked hard under the relentless sun of anxiety, the soil of your heart and mind has become compacted and dry. It is difficult for anything new to grow here. It lacks the nutrients of self-love and the moisture of compassion. And yet, even in this wilderness, there is hope. If you look closely, you will see that scattered throughout the garden, lying dormant beneath the weeds and within the hardened earth, are the seeds of your true nature. Seeds of joy, of creativity, of peace, of love, of boundless potential. They have not died. They have simply been waiting. They have been waiting for the return of the gardener. They have been waiting for the right conditions to finally sprout. Our work now has two parts: the gentle removal of the weeds and the careful cultivation of the soil to awaken the dormant seeds. And the way we approach the weeding is of the utmost importance. In the past, you may have tried to use a bulldozer. You tried to violently uproot your negative thoughts, screaming, "I will destroy my anxiety, I will conquer my fear." This approach of brute force only ever fails. It rips up the garden, destroys the delicate ecosystem of the soul, and scatters the weed seeds even further, ensuring they will grow back, often stronger than before. We will not use a bulldozer. We will become mindful gardeners. The mindful gardener gets down on their hands and knees. We approach the weed not as an enemy, but as an object of curious study. First, we identify it. We look at a thorny vine of self-critical thought and say, "Ah, I see you. You are the weed of perfectionism." We name it, and in naming it, we separate it from the soil, from our identity. We then get curious about its nature. Where does it seem to grow best? We might notice that the weed of perfectionism thrives in the shade of comparison to others and is watered by the fear of judgment. We are not fighting it, we are understanding it. The next step is the most compassionate one. Before we even think of pulling the weed, we gently loosen the soil around its roots. We do this by bringing understanding and gratitude to the belief. We look at the weed of perfectionism and say, "I understand why you grew here. You grew to protect me from the pain of criticism. You were a survival strategy. Thank you for your service." This act of gratitude is like pouring warm water on the compacted soil. The belief, once so rigid and stubborn, begins to lose its defensive grip. Its roots are no longer encased in the hard concrete of our resistance. And now, with the soil softened by compassion, we can gently but firmly take hold of the weed. And with a slow, steady pull, we can draw it out of the earth, taking care to get as much of the deep root system as possible. This is the conscious act of letting go of the belief. It is not a violent wrenching, but a deliberate release. We hold the weed in our hand, look at it one last time, and then we set it aside to wither in the sun of our awareness. We do this for each weed, one by one, with patience, with care, with reverence for the profound work we are doing. With some space now cleared, our attention turns to the soil itself. We must revitalize it. We must till the hardened ground of our heart and nervous system. We do this by actively bringing in life-giving energy. We till the soil with the deep, conscious breaths that signal safety to our entire being. We till it with joyful movement, with dance, with walking in nature, reminding our bodies that they are made for pleasure and aliveness, not just for bracing and survival. We till it by nourishing ourselves with beauty, with art, with music that makes our souls sing. Each of these acts softens the compacted earth of our being and prepares it for new life. And now, the most creative and hopeful act of all, planting new seeds. You are no longer the passive victim of a garden overrun with weeds. You are the conscious creator of your inner landscape. You get to choose what grows here. Where the weed of "I am not enough" once grew, you will now plant the seed of "I am whole and worthy, exactly as I am." Where the deep-rooted weed of "the world is unsafe" once dominated, you will plant the resilient seed of I have the strength and wisdom to meet whatever comes my way. Where the strangling vine of I am unlovable once choked out connection, you will plant the fragrant blossoming flower of I am open to giving and receiving love. But planting a seed is only the beginning. These new, tender sprouts require dedicated care, especially in a garden that has so long favored the growth of weeds. We must water them daily. This is the practice of consciously nurturing our new intentions. You water the seed of worthiness by writing down 3 things you appreciate about yourself at the end of each day. You water the seed of safety by consciously noticing all the small moments in your day where you were, in fact, safe and supported. You water the seed of love by practicing small acts of kindness for yourself and others. This is the work, the patient, daily, loving repetition that encourages the new flowers to grow, to reach for the sun, and to eventually become so strong and vibrant that they naturally crowd out any new weeds that might try to sprout. This is a practice for a lifetime. You are a gardener forever. There will always be weeding to do, and there will always be new flowers to plant. But the work becomes more joyful, the harvest more beautiful. And as you become a master of your own garden, you learn that for the most precious seeds to truly thrive, the soil needs a particularly potent form of nourishment. It needs a spiritual fertilizer that can neutralize any remaining toxins from the past and create the richest possible ground for growth. This sacred nutrient, this catalyst that makes all things in the garden grow with love, is the profound and liberating power of forgiveness. In the quiet, fertile ground of your inner garden, we have begun our work. We have acknowledged the weeds of old beliefs, and gently, with compassionate hands, we have started to remove them. We have tilled the hardened soil with our presence and planted the tender, hopeful seeds of a new reality. But for these precious seeds of worthiness, peace, and love to truly flourish, they need the most powerful nourishment known to the human heart. Yet, before we can add this sacred fertilizer, we must first address a poison that may still be contaminating the soil. This poison is the bitterness of resentment, the heavy chains of blame, and the slow, corrosive acid of unforgiveness. Perhaps no word in our language causes more immediate resistance than forgiveness. The moment it is spoken, a part of you may rise up in protest. But you don't understand what they did, it cries. Forgiveness feels like letting them win. It feels like saying that the pain they caused was acceptable. Let us honor this protest. Let us validate it completely. The pain was not acceptable. The wrong that was done to you was not okay. We will not bypass this truth with false piety, but we must examine with courageous honesty who is truly suffering from the lack of forgiveness now. There is an old saying, to hold on to resentment is to drink poison yourself and then wait for the other person to die. Read those words again. To hold on to resentment is to drink poison yourself. The bitterness, the rage, the endless replaying of the past, these are toxic energies that you keep circulating within your own system. The person who hurt you may be miles away or even gone from this earth, living their life, completely unaware of the turmoil inside of you. And you are here, in your sacred garden, drinking poison every day, hoping it will somehow harm them. It will not. It is only harming you. It is withering your new flowers from the root. Forgiveness, in the way we will explore it, is not a gift you give to the other person. It is a profound act of self-love. It is the antidote you finally allow yourself to drink. It is the courageous and liberating act of putting down the poison. To do this, we must completely dismantle the old definition of forgiveness. Forgiveness is not condoning. It is not saying, what you did was okay. It is saying, what you did was so damaging to me that I will no longer allow it to consume my present. Forgiveness is not forgetting. You will likely never forget the event. It is a part of your history. But forgiveness is the alchemy that neutralizes the toxic charge of the memory. It turns a live, venomous snake into a harmless rope on the ground. You can still see the rope, but it can no longer bite you. And most importantly, forgiveness is not reconciliation. It does not mean you must speak to the person who hurt you. It does not mean you must allow them back into your life. You can forgive someone completely and utterly, and at the same time, set a powerful boundary that you will never see or engage with them again. Forgiveness is a purely internal process. It is about your freedom, not their absolution. It is the act of cutting the energetic cord that has bound you to your past so that you can finally, truly, be present in your own life. There are 3 chambers of the heart that must be opened with this key of forgiveness. The first, and most obvious, is forgiving the other. This is the person or people who harmed you. The practice here is not to force yourself into a feeling of false charity. It is simply to begin the process of withdrawing your energy. Every time you ruminate on the past, you are sending your precious life force backward in time to an event that is over. You are watering a dead plant. To forgive is to consciously decide, I will no longer invest my energy here. My present moment is too valuable. You reclaim your power. You stop allowing a ghost from your past to be the landlord of your current emotional state. You evict them, not with anger, but with a quiet, firm intention to use your inner space for your own growth and peace. The second chamber, and often the most difficult to unlock, is forgiving yourself. We hold so much blame against ourselves. We blame ourselves for not being stronger, for not speaking up, for not leaving sooner, for trusting when we shouldn't have. We look back at a past version of ourselves with the wisdom and experience we have now, and we judge them harshly. But you must understand that younger you, the one who was in that situation, did not have the resources you have today. They were doing the absolute best they could with the knowledge, the strength, and the level of consciousness they possessed at that moment. They were in survival mode. Self-blame is often a trick of the ego to maintain an illusion of control. The mind thinks, if it was my fault, then I have the power to prevent it from happening again. But this is a cage. True power lies in compassion. To forgive yourself is to look back at that younger you, to see their fear and their innocence, and to wrap them in the arms of the wise, loving adult you are today. You say to them, you did the best you could. I am here now. I will protect you. You can rest. This act of self-compassion is the richest fertilizer you could ever give your garden. And there is a third, final chamber of the heart. This is the deepest and most subtle. It is the act of forgiving reality itself. It is forgiving life, or God, or the universe, for being what it is and not what you wished it would be. It is forgiving existence for containing pain, injustice, loss, and apparent cruelty. So much of our deepest anger is a philosophical rage. It shouldn't be this way. Life should be fair. This is the ultimate argument with what is. To forgive reality is to let go of your demand that the universe conform to your personal ideals. It is to surrender your idea of how things should be and to find peace with how they are. It is the final stage of radical acceptance. It does not mean you become passive. You can still work to create a better world, but you do so from a place of peace, not from a place of rage against the fundamental nature of existence. You learn to dance with the chaos, to find the beauty in the imperfection, and to trust the great, mysterious intelligence of a universe that operates on a scale far beyond your comprehension. This work cannot be forced. It can only be invited. So let us practice not forgiveness itself, but the willingness to forgive. Bring to your mind a person or a situation you are holding resentment towards. Don't start with the biggest one. Start with something manageable. Allow yourself to feel, just for a moment, the cost of holding on to this. Feel the tightness in your body, the bitter taste in your soul, the sheer exhaustion of it. Acknowledge the poison. Now, take a breath and silently say to yourself, I am willing to see this differently. You don't have to know how. Just cultivate the willingness. I am willing to be free from the weight of this resentment. Feel the sincerity of that desire for your own freedom. I am willing to consider putting down this poison. This willingness is the key. It is the tiny movement that begins to turn the lock. Stay with this feeling of willingness. It is the gentle dawn that promises the coming of a new day in your heart. When you finally do put down the poison of resentment, when you have unlocked these chambers of the heart, the effect is immediate and profound. A lightness enters your being, a quietness descends upon your mind. All the vast energy that was once consumed by fueling old grievances is now liberated. The endless mental chatter of blame and relived arguments begins to fade, and in its place, a silence begins to grow. It is a rich, peaceful, and spacious silence. And in this newfound silence, for the first time, you can begin to perceive the vast, open space that exists between your thoughts. You can begin to rest in the true home of your being. You have walked through the sacred chambers of the heart and begun the liberating work of forgiveness. You have laid down the heavy, toxic burden of resentment, and in its place, a profound quietness has begun to bloom. The great emotional storms have subsided. The constant, noisy chatter of old grievances has started to fade. And now, in this newfound inner peace, we arrive at the very heart of the mystery, the silent center of the wheel. We come to the space between your thoughts. For your entire life, you have lived within a relentless storm of thinking. Your mind, a magnificent and tireless commentator, has never ceased its narration. It plans, it judges, it remembers, it worries, it analyzes, it fantasizes. It is a constant stream of words, images, and concepts. And you, without question, have believed that you are this stream. You have identified your sense of self with the voice in your head. When it is anxious, you say, I am anxious. When it is critical, you say, I am judging myself. You have mistaken the thinker for who you are. But what if the thinker is just a tool, a function, and your true self is something far vaster, far quieter, and infinitely more peaceful? What if you are not the noise, but the silence from which the noise emerges? The thinking mind is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. It is a tool designed to solve problems, to create, and to navigate the practical world. The problem is, the tool never gets put down. It has taken over the whole house. The suffering you experience does not come from the mind itself, but from your complete and utter identification with its every compulsive movement. You have been living like a person who cannot distinguish themselves from their own radio, which is stuck on a frantic news station 24 hours a day. The path to peace is not to break the radio, but to simply realize you are not the broadcast. You are the silent listener in the room. Let us return to our most patient metaphor. Your thoughts are clouds passing through the sky of your awareness. You have spent your life on the ground, craning your neck, obsessed with the clouds. You have judged them. Oh, that is a dark, ugly storm cloud of a thought. I must get rid of it. You have chased them. That is a beautiful, puffy, white cloud of a thought. I must hold on to it. You have feared them, analyzed their patterns, and tried to predict their movements. You have been a cloud watcher, and you have believed you are what you watch. The great awakening occurs when you shift your identification from the clouds to the sky. You realize you are not the fleeting, impermanent, and ever-changing thought clouds. You are the vast, silent, and ever-present sky in which they appear. The sky is never harmed by the darkest storm cloud. The sky is never improved by the most beautiful, puffy white cloud. The sky simply is. It is the boundless, open, and accepting space that allows all clouds to come and go. Meditation is the practice of remembering you are the sky. It is the art of resting your attention in your own vastness and watching the weather of your mind pass by without entanglement. Let us practice this now. Let us find the space between the clouds. Allow your body to be comfortable, your spine straight but not stiff. Close your eyes and bring your attention to the gentle rhythm of your breath. The breath is your anchor to the present moment, the only place where reality exists. Now, turn your attention inward toward the stream of your thinking. Do not try to stop your thoughts. That is impossible and will only create more tension. Instead, adopt the posture of a gentle, curious observer. Imagine you are sitting on the bank of a river. The thoughts are objects floating by in the current, a leaf of a memory, a stick of a worry, a stone of a judgment. Your only job is to watch them float by without jumping into the river to grab them. Just watch. Notice a thought arise. Notice it stay for a moment. And notice it pass away. As you sit here, patiently watching the river of your mind, begin to look for something subtle. Look for the gaps. A thought ends, and before the next thought begins, there is a space, a brief pause, a momentary cessation of the stream. At first, it may be only a fraction of a second long, so fleeting you barely notice it. Do not strain to find it. Just remain open and aware. Sooner or later, you will notice one. A thought, a pause, another thought. When you notice one of these gaps, one of these spaces between the thoughts, your task is simply to let your awareness rest in it. Feel its texture. It is not an empty, dead void. It is profoundly alive. It is a space of pure potential, pure peace, pure presence. It is the background silence that was here before the first thought and will be here after the last. It is the canvas upon which the painting of your mind appears. It is your true home. Do not be discouraged if your mind seems very noisy. That is its habit. The goal is not to have no thoughts. The goal is to no longer be completely lost in the thoughts. Each time you notice a gap, you are strengthening your connection to the silence. Each time you realize you have been lost in thought, and you gently return to your posture as the watcher, you are flexing a spiritual muscle. What you place your attention on grows. By valuing the silence, by noticing it, by resting in it whenever you find it, you are inviting more of it into your experience. The gaps will naturally begin to widen. The river will begin to slow down. With practice, you will make a profound discovery. You will realize that even when thoughts are happening, the silent space is still here. It is the background. It is like the silent white page on which the words of a book are written. Without the silent page, the words could not exist. You have been so focused on the words that you forgot the page itself. But now you know, you are the page. You are the screen on which the movie of your life is playing. The movie can be a drama, a comedy, a tragedy, but the screen is never affected. It is always pristine, always clear. This silent space is not something you have to create. It is your fundamental nature. It is not a state you achieve only in meditation. It is a sanctuary that is available to you in every single moment. When you are caught in traffic, you can notice the space between your anxious thoughts. When you are in a difficult conversation, you can feel the silent presence behind your words. This is the source of all peace, all wisdom, and all intuition. When you begin to live from this space, your actions in the world become more graceful, more powerful, and more aligned with the flow of life itself. You are no longer deafened by the constant shouting of your own egoic mind. A new kind of hearing becomes possible. Having found the great silence within, you can now begin to perceive the very subtle, very quiet communications that come from without. You can now begin to hear the universe's whisper. You have found your way home to the great silence within. By learning to rest as the sky rather than the clouds, you have discovered a sanctuary of peace that is your birthright. This inner silence is not an empty, lifeless void. It is a state of profound and vibrant receptivity. Imagine your awareness is a highly sensitive satellite dish. For most of your life, the frantic vibrations of your own thinking mind have shaken this dish so violently that it could not receive any clear signals. But now, through your practice, the vibrations have ceased, the dish has become still, and in this stillness, you can finally begin to detect the incredibly subtle, intelligent, and loving signals that are constantly being broadcast throughout the universe. You can begin to hear the universe's whisper. This whisper is not a voice that speaks in your language. It does not boom from the heavens. It is a much more intimate and mysterious form of communication. The universe speaks in the language of synchronicity, of meaningful coincidence. It is a dialogue that occurs not in your head, but in the unfolding of your life. It is the gentle, loving guidance of a force that is infinitely wise and deeply invested in your growth. For years, this guidance has been all around you, but the roaring noise of your egoic mind has made you deaf to its subtlety. Now, in the quiet, you can learn to listen. Think of the universe as a wise and loving friend walking silently beside you. As you walk down your path, engrossed in your own thoughts and worries, your friend gently nudges your elbow and points to a beautiful, hidden trail you were about to miss. The nudge is a synchronicity. It is that moment when the inner world of your thoughts and feelings aligns perfectly and meaningfully with the outer world of events. You are thinking of an old friend you haven't spoken to in a decade, and in that very hour they call you. You are struggling with a deep personal question, and you walk into a bookstore and a book with the exact answer in its title falls off the shelf at your feet. You are lost in despair, and you overhear a stranger's conversation, and they say the one sentence that speaks directly to your heart, reigniting your hope. These are not random accidents. These are the nudges. These are the whispers. The universe also speaks in the language of recurring symbols. You may be contemplating a major life decision, feeling uncertain and afraid. And in that period of uncertainty, you begin to see a particular symbol everywhere. It might be a specific animal, a hawk, that seems to follow you, a deer that crosses your path at a pivotal moment. It might be a repeating number sequence that catches your eye on clocks, on license plates, on receipts, 11, 11, 444. It might be a word or a phrase that seems to leap out at you from billboards and book covers. Do not dismiss this as mere coincidence. This is the universe winking at you. It is a loving reassurance, a confirmation that you are seen, that your journey is being witnessed, and that you are moving in the right direction. It is a love note from the mystery. Perhaps the most direct way the universe whispers is through your own intuition, that sudden, inexplicable gut feeling, the urge to turn left when your rational mind says to turn right, only to avoid a massive traffic accident, the sudden thought to reach out to a friend, only to find they were in a moment of crisis and needed you desperately. The quiet, calm, knowing that a certain path is right for you, even if it makes no logical sense. This is not just your own mind. When your personal consciousness is quiet, it becomes a clearer channel for the universal consciousness. Your intuition becomes the receiver for the universe's broadcast. The whisper from without and the knowing from within become one and the same. So how do we become better listeners? How do we cultivate a life where these synchronicities are not rare occurrences, but a regular and welcome part of our experience? This is not about striving or desperately hunting for signs. That very desperation creates noise and static. The art of listening is one of gentle cultivation, of creating the inner conditions for receptivity. The first condition is presence. The whispers of the universe are only ever spoken in the present moment. Synchronicity can only be perceived now. If your attention is lost in regretting the past or fearing the future, you are not here to receive the nudge. The practice of returning again and again to the anchor of your breath and the sensations in your body is the foundational skill for hearing the whispers. Be here now, and you will be available for the conversation. The second condition is curiosity. You must approach your life not as a problem to be solved, but as a magical story unfolding. Be open to the possibility of meaning. Ask the universe open-ended questions. As you go about your day, you can hold a gentle inquiry in your heart. Universe, what do you want me to see today? Show me what I need to know. Guide me toward my highest good. Ask the question and then let it go. Do not hunt for the answer. Simply move through your day with a sense of playful wonder and watch how the answers begin to appear in the world around you. The third and most vital condition is non-attachment. You must hold your desires lightly. If you are desperately begging for a specific sign, if I see a red bird, it means I should take the job. You will either see red birds everywhere because of confirmation bias, or you will be blind to the actual, more subtle guidance the universe is trying to give you. Your frantic need for a specific outcome creates too much noise. You must trust that the guidance that is for your highest good will arrive in its own perfect time and its own perfect form. Trust is the silence that allows the whisper to be heard. Of course, the mind will question this. How do I know if this is a real sign or just my own wishful thinking? The distinction lies in the feeling. A true synchronicity, a genuine whisper from the universe, has a distinct quality. It feels calm, expansive, and often surprising. It lands with a sense of quiet clarity, a gentle aha, a feeling of resonance deep in your soul. It often guides you towards something that requires courage, growth, or healing. The voice of your ego, on the other hand, is usually loud, demanding, and anxious. It is rooted in fear, in lack, in the need for control or validation. The ego will tell you what you want to hear. The universe will whisper what you need to know. As you begin to practice this staying present, being curious, and trusting the flow, you will start to notice these whispers more and more. A beautiful dance begins. You receive a gentle nudge. You trust it. You take a small step in that direction, and the universe responds with another nudge, confirming your move. A relationship of trust and co-creation is built. You realize you are not forcing your way through life, but are being gracefully guided by a loving and intelligent partner. And when you truly begin to trust this guidance, the exhausting, lifelong need to control every single aspect of your life begins to fall away. Why would you need to white-knuckle the steering wheel when you know you have the most trustworthy navigator in existence sitting right beside you? This growing trust is the doorway to the final great liberation, the art of surrender. You have learned to quiet the relentless noise of your mind, and in that sacred inner silence, you have begun to hear the whispers of the universe. You have started to notice the synchronicities, to feel the intuitive nudges, to recognize the loving guidance that is always available to you. A conversation has begun. A relationship of trust is forming between your individual consciousness and the vast, intelligent consciousness of life itself. And as this trust deepens, it prepares you for the most courageous, most liberating, and most paradoxical act of the entire spiritual journey. It prepares you for the art of surrender. Let us be honest. There is a part of you, the part we can call the ego or the separate self, that is terrified of that word. To the ego, surrender means death. It means defeat, helplessness, and a catastrophic loss of control. For your entire life, this part of you has been operating under one primary directive: to control everything. It has lived with a white-knuckled grip on the steering wheel, believing that if it can just plan perfectly enough, manage people cleverly enough, anticipate every danger, and manipulate every outcome, it can keep you safe and get you what you want. It believes that you are a tiny, vulnerable entity in a random, hostile universe, and that your survival depends entirely on your own frantic, desperate effort. This belief is the source of all your anxiety, all your stress, and all your exhaustion. It has made you a rower, fighting a mighty and relentless current. Before we can even begin to understand surrender, we must dismantle the great misunderstanding of what it is. Surrender is not giving up. Giving up is an act of despair. It is the hopeless conclusion that nothing matters and there is no point in trying. Surrender is an act of supreme trust. It is the wise recognition that a power far greater and more intelligent than your own limited mind is at play, and you can choose to align with that power instead of fighting it. Giving up is dropping your oars in the middle of a storm because you feel you are doomed. Surrender is consciously lifting your oars into the boat because you realize the wind and the current are already taking you exactly where you need to go. Surrender is not passivity or weakness. To the ego, which equates strength with force and struggle, letting go looks like the ultimate weakness. But true strength is not measured by how hard you can push against the river. It is measured by how much you can trust its flow. It takes unimaginable courage to release your grip, to admit that your personal will is not the most powerful force in the universe, and to allow yourself to be carried by a larger intelligence. It is the difference between trying to push a mountain and learning how to ride an earthquake. One is a futile struggle, the other is an alignment with an awesome power. The clearest way to understand this is to return to the metaphor of the river. The great, flowing river is life, the Tao, the will of the universe. It is always moving, always flowing, and it knows, with an infallible intelligence, the way to its destination, the great ocean of wholeness and peace. You are in a small boat on this river. For most of your life, the ego has been in charge, and the ego, in its arrogance, looks at the powerful winding river and says, "I know a better way. The sea must be that way, upstream." And so, it turns the boat against the current and begins to row. What is this life of rowing upstream like? It is a life of constant grinding effort. Your muscles burn, your back aches, your hands are raw and blistered from the oars. You are so focused on the struggle, on the next stroke, that you cannot see the beauty of the riverbanks passing by. You are filled with a constant, low-grade anxiety, a fear that if you stop rowing for even a single second, you will be swept backward, losing precious ground. You make slow, agonizing progress, celebrating small victories, only to be pushed back by a stronger current. This is the life of control. It is the life of fighting reality. It is noble in its effort, but it is ultimately tragic in its futility. It is based on the single, false premise that your little ego knows better than the river itself. Then, one day, a moment of grace arrives. It often comes in the form of a crisis. You become sick. You lose the job. The relationship ends. The plan fails. The oars break. You reach a point of such profound exhaustion that you simply cannot row another stroke. This is the dark night of the soul. The ego is defeated. It has run out of options. And in this moment of utter defeat, a new possibility arises. You stop. You just stop. You breathe, and you look at the river. And you finally see it, not as an adversary, but as a magnificent, powerful, and beautiful force of nature. And then you perform the bravest act of your life. You consciously and deliberately pull the splintered oars into your boat. You take a deep breath, and you turn your little boat around to face downstream. You surrender. In that moment, everything changes. The struggle ceases. The frantic effort dissolves. And for the first time, you feel the incredible power of the river beneath you, no longer as a force to be fought, but as a force that is carrying you. The boat picks up speed. The scenery begins to glide by in all its beauty. You are still in the boat. You still have a paddle, your conscious awareness and your will, which you can use to gently steer around a rock here or a log there. But you are no longer providing the propulsion. The river is doing the work. You are no longer at war with life. You are in a dance with it. This is the art of surrender. It is the moment-to-moment practice of noticing where you are rowing against the current and choosing, again and again, to turn your boat around. Let us make this a felt reality in your body. Find the control in your body right now. Where do you hold it? Scan your being. Is it in the tight clench of your jaw, the rigid set of your shoulders, the shallow, controlled breaths you take, the knot of tension in your stomach? Find the physical signature of your need to control, and just be with it for a moment. Now, let us practice surrendering the past. Bring to mind a memory you regret, a past event you constantly wish had been different. Feel how your body tenses up as you think about it. That is the feeling of rowing against the unchangeable past. Now, take a long, slow exhale, and as you breathe out, consciously soften every muscle associated with that tension. Let your jaw go slack. Let your shoulders drop. Let your belly soften, and whisper to yourself, I cannot change what was. I release the fight. I surrender to the reality of my own history. Feel the release. Next, let us practice surrendering the future. Bring to mind a worry you have, a future outcome you are desperately trying to manage or force into being. Feel the anxiety that comes with it, the frantic planning, the need to control the uncontrollable. That is the feeling of trying to tell the river where it should go. Now, as a physical gesture, open your hands and turn them palms up on your lap. This is the universal posture of receiving, of letting go. As you hold your hands open, whisper to yourself, I will take the wise actions that are mine to take, and I release the final outcome to a power greater than my own. I trust the flow of my life. Feel the shift from a clenched fist to an open hand. Finally, and most profoundly, let us practice surrendering to the present. Bring your awareness to whatever emotion is most present for you right now. It may be peace, it may be anxiety, it may be boredom. Whatever it is, your habit is to resist it slightly, to judge it, to want it to be different. Instead, just for this moment, surrender to it completely. Imagine your body is made of water and allow it to take the shape of the feeling without any resistance. If it is sadness, let your body be sadness. If it is joy, let your body be joy. Drop the label and just feel the raw energy of it. Whisper, you are welcome here. I surrender to what is right now. In this surrender, you discover the ultimate paradox. The moment you stop trying to control everything, you connect with a power that is truly in control. The moment you stop fighting, you become invincible. The moment you surrender your small egoic will, you align with the unstoppable will of the universe itself. The exhaustion of the frantic rower dissolves, and what is left in its place? A quiet, an alert presence, a deep, profound stillness, even as the river of life continues to move. And it is in this stillness that you will discover the most authentic and potent power you have ever known. The power not of doing, but of simply being. The oars are in the boat. The frantic struggle against the current has ceased. You have surrendered your small boat to the great, intelligent flow of the river of life, and you are being carried. In the absence of your own striving, a new state of being begins to emerge. It is a state of profound stillness. At first, this stillness might feel unsettling. The ego, conditioned for a lifetime to believe that worth comes from doing, that progress comes from effort, may become anxious. It may whisper, are you being lazy? Are you giving up? You should be doing something. We must meet this old conditioning with compassion and gently teach it a new truth. We are not entering a state of passivity, we are entering the source of all true power. We are discovering the immense, generative, and world-shaping power that is found only in stillness. Our culture has taught us to confuse force with power. Force is the energy of the ego. It is loud, frantic, and aggressive. It is the energy of pushing, of striving, of competing, of trying to impose your will upon the world. It is the energy of the rower, straining every muscle to fight the river. Force is born from the belief that you are separate from life and must conquer it. It requires a tremendous amount of your own limited personal energy, and it always, eventually, leads to burnout and exhaustion. True power is something else entirely. It is the energy of the soul. It is quiet, calm, and effortless. It does not push. It attracts. It does not struggle. It aligns. Power is not the energy of the rower. It is the energy of the river itself. It is born from the understanding that you are one with life, and its infinite energy can flow through you. The journey we have been on, from control to surrender, has been a journey from the exhausting world of force to the generative world of true power. And the gateway to that power is stillness. Consider the mightiest things in nature. Consider a great mountain. Its power is in its absolute, unmoving stillness. It does not strive to be majestic. Its majesty is a consequence of its being. It withstands millennia of wind and rain, not by fighting them, but by being so utterly, immovably itself. Or consider the central metaphor for this lesson: a great ancient tree. A tree is one of the most powerful and creative organisms on Earth, turning sunlight, water, and air into life and substance. And yet, how does it accomplish this? Through a profound and unwavering stillness. A tree does not hustle. A tree does not worry that the tree next to it is growing faster. A tree does not strain to reach the sky. Its entire life is a masterclass in the power of stillness. The tree's power comes from its roots, which it sinks deep into the dark, silent earth. These roots are its connection to its source, to the endless nourishment and stability of the planet itself. The roots are the tree's meditation. The deeper they go into the silence and darkness, the taller and stronger the tree can grow into the light. Your practice of sitting in silence, of feeling your connection to the ground of your being, of becoming comfortable in the darkness of the unknown, this is you growing your roots. The deeper you can root into the stillness of your own presence, the more unshakable you will become. From these deep roots grows the trunk. The trunk is the embodiment of the tree's power. It is solid, centered, and present. It can bend with the wind, but it does not break, because its stability does not come from rigidity, but from its deep, flexible connection to its roots. This is your core self when you are abiding in stillness. You are no longer tossed about by the winds of circumstance or the storms of other people's emotions. You have a central core of peace, a quiet solidity that comes from knowing you are rooted in something far deeper than the surface events of your life. And only from this rooted, stable trunk can the branches reach for the sun and the leaves open to perform the magic of photosynthesis. This is the tree's action in the world. But it is an effortless action. It is a graceful, silent unfolding. The tree does not struggle to produce its leaves. The leaves emerge as a natural expression of the life force flowing up from its still-rooted center. This is the model for our own action in the world. When we act from a place of frantic, egoic force, our actions are clumsy, draining, and often ineffective. But when we first connect with our own inner stillness, when we root ourselves in the silence of our being, our actions become like the leaves of the tree. They emerge naturally. They are graceful, effective, and energized, not by our effort, but by the flow of life itself. From stillness, you learn to act with an economy of grace. You make the one right move instead of 100 frantic ones. Let us feel this in our bodies now. Whether you are sitting or standing, allow your awareness to fill your form. Feel the points of contact between your body and the earth or the chair beneath you. Now, imagine roots growing from the base of your spine and the soles of your feet, extending down, 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 deep into the warm, silent, powerful core of the earth. Feel these roots anchoring you, holding you, securing you. Take a breath and imagine you are drawing up the quiet, dark, potent energy of the earth itself, up through your roots and into your body. Allow this energy to fill the trunk of your being, your torso, your spine. Feel yourself becoming solid, stable, and profoundly still. Let go of the need to do anything. Let go of the need to become anything. Simply be here, like a great tree, rooted, present, still. Feel the immense, quiet power in this state of non-striving. It is not an empty stillness. It is filled with a vibrant, latent energy. It is the stillness of a coiled spring, of a sleeping giant. Now, from this deep, rooted stillness, allow your awareness to expand upward. Feel it rise through your heart and out through the crown of your head, like branches gently, effortlessly reaching for the light. Feel how this upward, outward expression is not a struggle. It is a natural consequence of your rootedness. You do not need to force it. The power sourced from your stillness naturally wants to express itself as growth, as creativity, as love. Just sit for a moment and embody this truth. True power does not come from reaching, it comes from rooting. This is the power that you can now bring into every aspect of your life. Before you enter a difficult conversation, you can take a moment to root into your stillness. Before you make an important decision, you can connect with the quiet, solid wisdom of your trunk instead of the frantic calculations of your mind. When you feel overwhelmed by the chaos of the world, you can always return to the silence of your roots. This stillness becomes your sanctuary and your command center. From this place of quiet, rooted, and authentic power, your perspective begins to shift profoundly. You can now look back at the journey you have taken, at the path that led you here. You can look back at the very beginning of it all, the original pain, the wound that started this entire pilgrimage, and you see it with completely new eyes. It is no longer a mark of shame, a flaw in your being, a tragic mistake. From the quiet strength of the tree, you can now see the wound for what it truly was. The crack in the hard, compacted soil of your life that, for the very first time, allowed a little bit of light to get in. It was the disturbance that forced you to grow your roots deeper than you ever imagined you could. You are now ready to see that the wound was not an obstacle on your path. The wound was the path. You are ready to understand the wound as a sacred portal. From the deep, quiet, rooted place of your own stillness, a new kind of vision becomes possible. You are no longer the leaf tossed in the wind, but the mountain that witnesses the seasons change. From this unshakable vantage point, we are now going to do something that would have once been unthinkable. We are going to turn our calm and steady gaze back toward the very beginning of our journey. We are returning to the epicenter of the earthquake, to the heart of the storm, to the site of the original wound. But we do not return with fear. We do not return with shame. We do not return as victims. We return as wise and compassionate explorers, holding the bright lantern of our own hard-won awareness. We are returning not to relive the trauma, but to finally understand its sacred purpose. For your whole life, you have seen the wound as a tragic error in your design. You have seen it as a flaw, a place of damage, a source of weakness and shame. You have believed that your life would have been better, purer, and more whole without it. Today, we will turn that belief on its head. Today, you will come to understand the most profound truth of the spiritual path. The wound was not an obstacle on your journey. The wound was the journey. It was not a mistake in your design. It was the most important feature. It was, and is, a sacred portal. Before the wound, we live in a state of unconscious wholeness. We live within the smooth, sealed shell of the ego. We believe we are our personality, our family name, our accomplishments, our plans for the future. We live on the surface of ourselves, unaware of the vast depths beneath. This shell of the ego serves a purpose, but it is also a prison. It keeps us safe, but small, and it is impermeable to the light of the soul, the grace of the universe. It is so smooth and so polished that the light simply reflects off it. There is no way in. Then, an event happens. A loss, a betrayal, a failure, a moment of terror. The smooth shell is struck. It cracks, it shatters, and in that moment, it is terrifying. The ego is humiliated. All of its plans, all of its defenses, have failed. It is proven in one devastating instant that it is not in control. This shattering is the greatest pain of our lives, and it is also our greatest grace. There is a line from the poet Rumi that says, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." Let those words sink into every cell of your being. The light of consciousness, of grace, of wisdom, of a power greater than yourself, cannot enter a sealed vessel. It requires an opening. The wound is the cracking open of the vessel. It is the breaking of the seal. It is the painful, blessed aperture through which the universe can finally pour its love and wisdom into you. All of the practices we have undertaken, the turning around, the listening to the body, the surrender, the alchemy, were only possible because the wound first broke you open and forced you to look deeper. Without the wound, you would have remained on the surface, living a perfectly sealed but spiritually empty life. The wound was the invitation to the depths. It was your call to adventure. Think of your soul as a great seed. The hard outer shell of the seed is your personality, your egoic identity. Inside that seed, dormant and waiting, is the potential for a magnificent, towering tree, your true divine self. A seed can sit on a shelf for 100 years, perfectly whole, perfectly safe, and perfectly dormant. For the life within the seed to be realized, the shell must be broken. It must be planted in the dark earth, and it must endure the pressure and the pain of its own shell cracking apart. This breaking is not a sign of failure. It is the absolute requirement for growth. The pain of the crack is temporary, but the life of the great tree that emerges from it is glorious. Your wound was the cracking of your seed shell. It was the moment your true spiritual growth began. We can also imagine the wound as a dark cave you were terrified to enter. You spent years living at the mouth of the cave, your back to its opening, trying to build a life in the small patch of sunlight available to you, always aware of the terrifying darkness behind you. You believed a monster lived in that cave, but this journey has taught you how to build a small lantern from your own awareness. And with this lantern, you have finally had the courage to turn and step inside. And as your small light illuminates the darkness, you discover there is no monster. You discover, to your astonishment, that the walls of the cave are lined with shimmering, priceless crystals. These are the crystals of compassion, of resilience, of wisdom, of authenticity. And you realize that these crystals, this inner wealth, could only have been formed under the immense, crushing pressure of the darkness within that cave. The wound was not a monster's lair. It was a treasure chamber. Let us make this real for you now. From your place of still, rooted power, bring the memory of your wound into your awareness. Hold it gently. Look at it not as a source of pain, but as a source of initiation. And ask yourself these questions, letting the answers arise from your heart, not your head. Because of this wound, what strength did you discover in yourself that you never knew you had? Feel the resilience that was forged in you. Acknowledge the courage you had to find. Because of this wound, what did you learn to value that you once took for granted? Perhaps it taught you the preciousness of safety, of love, of truth, of simple peace. See the clarity of purpose it gave you. Because of this wound, what compassion do you now possess for others who are suffering? Feel the empathy that was born from your own pain. You are now a healer because you yourself were wounded. Because of this wound, what part of your false, egoic self had to die, allowing someone more authentic and true to be born? Acknowledge the death of the old you and the birth of the new. Because of this wound, what spiritual path did you begin? See how the entire journey, every book you read, every practice you adopted, this very moment of listening, was all set in motion by that initial breaking. This is not about justifying the pain or saying it was worth it. It is about honoring the profound, unforeseen, and sacred consequences of what happened. It is about seeing the gold that was created in that specific fire. You are not the person you are today in spite of your wound. You are the person you are today because of it. The wound was the chisel that sculpted you. The pain was the pressure that created the diamond. And so, we arrive at the final, great reframing. The place within you that you called a wound is no longer a wound. It has been transformed. Through the alchemy of your own consciousness, it has fulfilled its purpose. It was not a tomb where a part of you went to die. It has become a womb from which your truest, most powerful self is being born. And this sacred portal, this opening where the light of the universe first touched the depths of your soul, has left its mark upon you. But these marks are not blemishes of damage. They are the shimmering, beautiful traces of your initiation. They are scars, yes, but they are sacred scars. They are a map of your journey home. They are your own, unique constellations, and now we will learn to read their light. You are standing now on the other side of the portal. You have journeyed into the darkness and discovered it was a treasure chamber. You have walked into the fire and found it was an alchemist's forge. You have faced the wound and realized it was a sacred doorway through which a great and holy light could enter your being. The journey through the portal is complete. But as you stand here, in the quiet dawn of your new awareness, you look upon yourself and you see the marks that the journey has left. You see the scars. For a lifetime, you have been taught to see these scars as proof of your damage. You have seen them as ugly reminders of your trauma, as signs of your imperfection, as flaws to be hidden from the world. When you looked in the mirror, you saw not a survivor, but something broken. You have spent immense energy trying to cover them with makeup, to disguise them with a cheerful personality, or to numb the memory of their creation. Society teaches us that smooth, unbroken surfaces are the ideal. It worships the flawless, the untouched, the pristine. And so, we have lived in shame of our own beautiful, broken history. Today, that shame ends. Today, we embark on the final great act of alchemy. We will not erase the scars. We will not hide them. We will illuminate them. We will learn to see them not as marks of damage, but as the intricate, breathtakingly beautiful signature of your unique and courageous soul. We will learn to see your scars as constellations and your history as a sacred map written in light. In Japan, there is an ancient and profound art form called kintsugi. When a cherished piece of pottery, a beautiful bowl, or a treasured cup is dropped and shatters, it is not thrown away. The conventional mind would see it as ruined, its value destroyed. The kintsugi master, however, sees this as the moment the object's true story can begin. The master does not try to glue the pieces back together invisibly, pretending the break never happened. Instead, they painstakingly and lovingly reassemble the vessel using a special lacquer mixed with pure powdered gold. The process is slow. It requires immense care and patience. Each piece must be honored and placed in its correct position, and when the work is finished, the object is transformed. It is not just a repaired bowl, it is a masterpiece. The jagged lines of its trauma, the evidence of its shattering, have now become shimmering veins of pure gold. The bowl is now more beautiful, more valuable, and more interesting than it ever was in its original, unbroken state. Its history is not a source of shame. It is its most glorious feature, illuminated for all to see. You are this kintsugi vessel. The trauma you endured was the shattering. The journey we have taken together, the self-inquiry, the acceptance, the surrender, the alchemy has been the slow, loving process of gathering your own broken pieces. And the compassion, the wisdom, the resilience you have cultivated, this is the liquid gold. You have been all this time a kintsugi master, and the object of your artistry has been your own soul. It is time now to step back and admire your work. It is time to see that the very lines you thought were your greatest flaws are, in fact, your most beautiful and defining characteristics. They are the proof of your resilience, the testament to your capacity to heal, the map of your journey from brokenness to beauty. Let us weave this with another image. Imagine the night sky of your inner being. Before the wound, it was perhaps a uniform, unblemished twilight. But the wound, the portal, was a point of such immense pressure and heat that it created a star. A point of brilliant, inextinguishable light was born in your inner darkness. Every major wound, every heartbreak, every failure in your life has created another star. At first, you saw only a random scattering of painful memories. But the golden lines of your kintsugi repair are the threads of meaning and wisdom that now connect these stars. And what do we call a pattern of stars connected by lines of meaning? We call it a constellation. Your scars are the star map of your soul. And where others might see only darkness, you can now begin to read the light. Let us read this map together now. Let us trace the constellations that are unique to you. Bring to mind a significant scar, a wound from your past that has defined you for a long time. Let us, for example, look at the scar of abandonment. You have long seen this as an ugly, jagged mark that proves you are unwanted. But look closer now, with the eyes of the kintsugi master. See the golden lacquer that now fills that crack. See this scar not as a mark, but as a star. This is the star of abandonment. What light does it shine with today? Because you were forced to learn how to stand on your own, it now shines with the brilliant, steady light of self-reliance. Because you know the deep pain of being left, it now glows with the soft, silver light of profound empathy for anyone who feels lonely. The star of your greatest pain has been alchemized into a beacon of strength and compassion. Now, bring to mind the scar of a great failure. A dream that died, a project that collapsed. You have seen this as a brand of shame, of incompetence. But look again. See it as a star in your constellation. This is the star of failure. What is its light? Having been humbled, it now shines with the quiet, gentle light of humility. Having been knocked down and gotten back up, it shines with the fierce, pulsing light of resilience. Having learned what did not work, it now emits the clear, focused light of wisdom. Your failure was not an ending. It was the birth of a new star cluster in your soul. Let us trace the constellation formed by the scar of betrayal. This deep, painful crack has been a source of mistrust and fear. But look at the gold that fills it now. This is the constellation of discernment. Its stars shine with the light of powerful boundaries, the wisdom to know who to let into your sacred space. It shines with the light of self-respect, the refusal to ever be treated that way again. It shines with the light of truth, the ability to see through deception because you know its sting so intimately. And what of the profound scar of grief? The loss of a loved one, the death of a part of yourself. You thought it was a black hole that swallowed all light, but see it now. It is a vast, deep nebula, and within it, new stars are being born. This is the constellation of depth. Its stars shine with the light of compassion. They shine with an understanding of what is truly precious in this fleeting life. They shine with a connection to the mystery, a knowing that love is greater than death. This is the sacred art of reading your own life. You are not defined by the moments you were broken. You are defined by the spectacular, unique, and beautiful way you have put yourself back together with gold. Let us now perform a final ceremony. The coronation of the scarred self. Find a quiet space. Close your eyes. Imagine you are standing in a sacred temple that is the center of your own heart. In your hands, you hold a bowl of warm, liquid, shimmering gold. This gold is all the love, all the wisdom, all the compassion you have cultivated on this journey. Now, One by one, bring your scars into your awareness. A physical scar on your body, an emotional scar on your heart, a spiritual scar on your soul. As each one appears, dip your fingers into the liquid gold and with infinite tenderness, trace the line of that scar. As you anoint each scar with gold, you do not say, "I wish you were not here." You say, "I honor you." You thank the scar for the strength it taught you. You thank it for the portal it was. You thank it for the unique light it brought into your being. You are not covering your scars. You are celebrating them. You are turning your body, your heart, your soul into a living work of art. You can now look at yourself with new eyes. There is no broken part of you and healed part of you. It is all one. The vessel and the golden repairs have become an integrated whole. The stars and the night sky are one beautiful reality. Your scars are not a history of your pain. They are a celestial map of your becoming. There is no other soul in the entire universe that has your exact pattern of constellations. It is your unique signature of beauty, forged in darkness and illuminated by your own consciousness. And now, there is nothing left to hide. You are ready to carry this magnificent, whole, and sacredly scarred self out into the world. You are ready to walk as the masterpiece you have always been. You have stood at the threshold of the sacred portal that was your wound. You have looked upon the landscape of your life and seen not a battlefield of trauma, but a celestial map of constellations, a unique and beautiful kintsugi masterpiece crafted in gold. You have honored the journey. You have claimed the wisdom. You have seen the beauty in the breaking. And now, there is only one thing left to do. You must learn to live as the masterpiece you are. You must learn to walk with your whole self. For your entire life, you have been living in a state of inner civil war. You have divided your being into 1,000 warring factions. There was the good you and the bad you, the spiritual you and the messy human you, the strong, capable you and the weak, frightened you, the healed parts of you and the still broken parts. You have spent your life trying to champion the good parts while suppressing, exiling, and shaming the others. You have tried to live by showing the world only your acceptable side, while keeping your vulnerability, your anger, your grief, and your fear locked away in the basement of your being. This inner division is the source of all chronic fatigue. It is an immense and constant drain of your life force because you are perpetually using your own energy to fight yourself. It is like trying to walk by praising your right leg and cursing your left. You would only ever stumble, exhausted and in conflict. Today, we declare an armistice. The war is over. We are laying down the weapons of self-judgment, of comparison, of perfectionism. We are moving beyond the binary of good and bad, worthy and unworthy, broken and whole. It is all you. The courage is you, and the fear is you. The compassion is you, and the anger is you. The light is you, and the shadow is you. They are not opposing forces in a battle. They are simply different expressions of the one, magnificent and complex being that you are. They are all notes in the one symphony. They are all weather patterns in the one sky, and the act of final integration, the act of true wholeness, is to finally allow it all to belong. To understand this, let us look to the moon. We look up at the night sky, and we see the moon in its different phases. We see the brilliant, glorious full moon, and we are filled with a sense of celebration and peak experience. We see the delicate, hopeful crescent moon, and we feel the promise of new beginnings. And we see the dark of the new moon, a seeming emptiness in the sky, and we might feel a sense of lack or unease. Our society, our own minds, have taught us to value only the full moon. We want our lives to be a constant state of brightness, happiness, and peak performance. We have been taught to fear the dark phases, to see them as a problem to be solved. But here is the great, liberating truth. There is no such thing as a half moon. The moon is always, eternally, a whole and perfect sphere. What we see from our vantage point on Earth is simply the part of the moon that is currently illuminated by the sun. The dark part of the moon is not missing, it is not broken, it is not evil. It is simply resting in shadow. It is a vital and necessary part of the whole, gathering its energy for the next cycle of illumination. You are this moon. Your life will have its full moon moments of joy and success, and it will have its dark moon moments of grief, of rest, of turning inward, of not knowing. Wholeness is not the act of trying to be a full moon forever. That is an exhausting and impossible task. Wholeness, true enlightenment, is the ability to love and honor yourself in every phase. It is the wisdom to know that even when you feel you are only a sliver of light, you are still the entire, magnificent moon. It is the courage to bring the light of your own compassionate awareness to the parts of you that are resting in shadow, and to love them just as fiercely as you love your brightest parts. How then do we walk with this wholeness? How do we live as the entire moon? It begins with a practice of radical inner inclusivity. Let us do this now. Close your eyes. Imagine you are standing in a great circular council chamber in the center of your heart, and you are calling all the parts of yourself to this council. Invite them all. Invite the frightened inner child. Invite the wise old elder. Invite the harsh inner critic. Invite the playful creative spirit. Invite the angry warrior who holds your boundaries. Invite the part of you that feels lazy, the part that feels jealous, the part that feels profound grief. See them all gathering, some hesitantly, some defiantly. In your old life, you would have tried to kick half of them out of the room, but today you stand in the center as the loving, spacious self, the sky that holds all weather, and you look at each part and you acknowledge it. You look at the frightened child and say, I see you. Thank you for your vulnerability. You are welcome here. You look at the inner critic and say, I see you. Thank you for your desire to protect me from failure. Your vigilance is no longer needed in this way, but you are welcome here. You look at the angry warrior and say, I see you. Thank you for protecting my boundaries. Your strength is a gift. You are welcome here. One by one, you let every part of yourself know that it has a legitimate place in the council of your being. No one is exiled. No one is shamed. Everyone belongs. And then, from this place of loving leadership, you make a vow to yourself, witnessed by all the parts of you. From this day forward, we walk together. I will no longer leave any part of myself behind in the darkness. When I walk into a room, all of us walk into the room. My strength and my softness, my light and my shadow, my joy and my capacity for sorrow. We walk as one. Feel this integration in your body. Feel the immense, solid power of having all of your energy available to you, because none of it is being wasted on inner conflict. Feel the quiet confidence of a being who is no longer afraid of their own complexity. When you walk with your whole self, you move through the world in a new way. You can be vulnerable without being a victim. You can be strong without being rigid. You can feel anger without becoming anger. You can feel fear without being paralyzed by it. You are no longer trying to manage a curated, edited version of yourself for public consumption. You are simply, authentically, you. There is an ease, a grace, a flow that was never possible when you were trying to hide half of your being. This is not a final destination. It is a new way of walking. The path of wholeness is a continuous dance of integration. There will be times when you forget, when you fall back into the old habit of self-judgment and try to exile a part of yourself once more. But now you know the way back. You know how to call the council, how to acknowledge the parts, how to reclaim your wholeness. The journey of healing has not been about becoming a new person. It has been about unbecoming all the things you were not, so you could finally be the person you have always been. You have traveled across the universe, through fire and water, only to arrive back where you started, in your own heart, and to know the place for the first time. You are now ready. You are whole. You are here, and your true life is just beginning. And so, we arrive not at an end, but at a beginning. The guided part of our journey is complete, but the walk itself, the great and beautiful walk of your whole self, now truly begins. The path does not end here. You have simply come to a high plateau from which you can see where you have been and who you have become. You have walked through the valley of your own echoes and found the stillness on the other side. You have faced the storm and discovered you are the sky. You have tended the garden. You have surrendered to the river. You have stood, rooted and powerful, like a great tree. The place within you that you once called your deepest wound, that aching void you tried so desperately to fill or to flee, has been transformed. It is no longer a void. Through the alchemy of your own loving attention, it has become a vessel. It is a beautiful kintsugi bowl, its cracks shimmering with the golden light of your own hard-won wisdom. It is a vessel that was once filled with your sorrow, but is now filled with the light of your presence. Carry this vessel with you as you walk, but you will no longer carry it as a burden, a heavy reminder of a painful past. You will now carry it as a lantern to light your own way in moments of darkness, a quiet, steady flame of inner knowing that can never be extinguished, and a lantern that will, by its very nature, cast a gentle light for others who are still lost in their own fog, helping them to see that they, too, are not alone. There is nothing left to fix. There is nothing left to heal. There is only a being to be, a life to be lived, a walk to be walked. Trust the wisdom of your scars. Trust the silence between your thoughts. Trust the guidance of the universe's whisper. Trust your whole and holy self. Go now and walk as the light you are.